What is Smoking Cannon family? It is your host Dustin with two buds in a jar, and today I am joined with none other than Harry Cola. Harry, how the hell you doing today, bud?
Doing all right, man.
Same here, same here. We got a lot of stuff for you guys. So we're going to go topic to topic because there is a whole lot, if you guys have been wondering, going on in the two buds in a jar world. So I guess I'll direct the conversation so because you're having the same issues. But okay, so I live in an old apartment. It's a two-bedroom apartment. It got a lot of issues going on with it. So they're going to go ahead and remodel another one and move us over to another one. So this is why we have this kind of setup in the studio and things going on that's like this. If you're wondering what's the background, usually we have a studio and a background and a whole screen setup and everything. Right now we don't have that necessarily just due to I'm going to be moving Thursday and you're going to see a whole new grow room that's going to be all reset up, and you're going to see a whole new studio because usually we have a studio area where we leave up equipment and things and just go in and film. So right now that's kind of bobbled. And it's making things rather difficult to get content out, but we're still doing shorts for you guys every day, keeping up on Harry Cola's end with all the stuff he's doing, keeping up on my Northern Lights and Grape Ape on my end and all that I'm doing. It is very humid and very hot. So my air conditioners went out. I had to go and purchase a $250 air conditioner. So roughly I spent about 315 on two air conditioners. Got my house a lot more cooler. So now my plants aren't suffering, neither is my animals or me. It went out for 2 days, but we only waited a whole 24 hours for we went the next day early in the morning
So,
and
so
bought an air conditioner.
something happened. I don't know what happened. Something happened.
All right, we're back. It's all right. But anyway, so I went and bought two air conditioners. Now the apartment's cooler, the animals are chill, and the plants are cooler. They're not burning up. Luckily, the only heat stress my grew received was just some burnt leaves. The buds are absolutely fine. The pistils are absolutely fine. The trichomes. So luckily, I just, lost some leaves and some foliage in that. And, I reacted to it quick enough to save the grow, and which is definitely going to be awesome. I got to say, it really helped. But $300 in air conditioners, and of course, my apartment person's going to reimburse me for that over there. So that's about $300 off move-in cost, and they're not charging us. So all this is their fault. So that's cool.
Yeah.
So Harry, what kind of issues like that have you been having here recently, battling the heat, humidity, and
Oh, it's been hot and it's
some
been
IRL stuff?
yeah, it's been real humid. So I really have been having a tough fight dealing with just the heat and the humidity. As you know, as it gets hotter, the air holds more humidity, so it makes it even a bigger challenge to deal with, especially if you don't have a proper dehumidifier. I have a dehumidifier that would be like one of those big closets from back in the day.
Yeah.
Stick that in there, make sure your clothes aren't getting too moist, or like a little area, like a bigger closet, but it's still small, I think that's really what it's for. It's not for your grow tent. So
Yeah. Yeah,
that, that's my bad for cheaping out on equipment.
I mean, I do have a dehumidifier that covers 1,800 square feet, but due to the fact that I have to leave that back room open to get air conditioning back there, because I do not have a garden AC, because they are very freaking
Well,
expensive.
we were just talking about it. AC Infinity seems to really be one of the cheapest ones, the
Yeah,
Terraformer. There was another model you mentioned, but I don't think it
yeah.
has all the same features that you get from AC Infinity. And then when you go and look, I mean, I saw up to like 2,000 to $9,000.
Yeah, guys, there's some garden ACs just for your garden alone that are $9,000, $10,000.
Does
Okay.
that do a whole room or something?
Yes, those are typically not for grow tents. For one, let me just clarify that because I know there's people in the comment sections like, oh, those are for bigger grows. Yes, we know that. That's why they're about $9,000. They cover some more square foot and kind of cool it down. So, but the cheapest option, like Harry Cola was saying, is the Terraformer by AC Infinity. Acts as a dehumidifier and an air conditioner. And it only costs around $600. That's expensive as hell. I'm not going to lie. You're probably thinking, and only costs. That's why we don't
Well,
have one
I
yet.
think that's a big misconception that a lot of people have, is a lot of people think like, oh, I'm going to grow and I'm going to save money by growing my own cannabis. But what happens is now, okay, you're going to grow. So now you need a space to grow with a consistent environment. You're going to need fans. You're going to need, humidifiers,
Genetics,
dehumidifiers,
lights,
genetics, soil, pots,
nutrients.
nutrients. And then by the time you're done, you've spent $1,500 when you could have just went to a dispensary and paid, a little bit of money and picked up some bud
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
or wherever,
ultimately,
maybe your guy down the block.
so those looking into growing and growing, understand if you do not have the equipment, I'm going to be like more blatant than any other growing channel on YouTube. You're not going to get what you want out of it at all. You're
Well,
going to
you'll
get
be able to grow something.
You'll be able to grow something. It'll be half-ass larfy buds. I'm going to be real with you, but unless you
Foxtails.
have, and you don't have to have the most top quality equipment either. You don't have to go out there and spend top dollar on everything. You just have to have the equipment. You have to have some sort of dehumidifier, some sort of light, some sort of fan, and you can really, optimize through different companies and make that price lower. However, I recommend if you can afford it, definitely Spider Farmer, AC Infinity, or Gorilla Tents.
Well,
Those three companies
it's
primarily.
it's also the knowledge too. You have
Yeah.
to take so much time
Mhm.
and understand nitrogen deficiency, nitrogen toxicity, pests, diseases. You have to
Yeah.
be able to,
There's a lot of.
and there's a lot of stuff that looks like, oh, that might be a nitrogen deficiency, but really your light wasn't high enough, or it was too high, or it wasn't up strong enough, or whatever it is. There's so many things that look similar, and it's like by the time you figure it out, you've done sprayed your plant with insecticide soap and y'all done all kinds of crazy stuff to it, trying to fix the
Yeah.
problem. And the problem was it just needed a little bit more food, or it needed less water, or it needed more light.
And essentially, you learn this through hands-on experience. Growing marijuana and growing it good, like all these other growers, like Jungle Boys. Shout out to Jungle Boys. Shout out to Mendo Dope Boys. Shout out to Barney's Farm, Huckleberry's Farm. You guys are amazing.
And
But if
42
you
fast buds.
and 42 fast buds too, I gotta say. But if you guys want to grow cannabis like these people, not so much like 42 fast buds, but the other breeders that I named, you need to ultimately know these things. And 50% of it is knowledge. The other 50% is hands-on. So if you're learning all this but not applying it, you're really only taking in knowledge. And there are curves and turns and twists that happens in all grows. Whether you set them up right, whether shit's operating to a T, you're still going to have room for error. For instance, I have everything I need. I spent well over 3 grand on my grow and everything I have in there. Literally. All Fox Farm, AC Infinity, you name it, it's back there, it's in that room. However, my air conditioner went out my apartment, for instance. That's something I didn't take into account for getting a backup air conditioner. I should have, but so sometimes realize too, even if you do have everything you have, there will be problems. Even these professionals sometimes have problems. So if you're a beginner grower and you've messed up, don't worry about it. When I first started, like I've said this story 2 or 3 times, but I'll shorten it down for those of you that's heard it. I started years and years ago, about 20 some years ago, 22, 23 years ago. Okay. I set up my whole closet, Mylar, LED, and CFL lights, because I couldn't afford a grow light at the time. I had a humidity and temperature thing in there and a fan. And I tried to grow and they wouldn't germinate. And I didn't even know it takes 7 to 14 days to germinate cannabis seeds. You know what I did, guys? I shut the light off and said, fuck it. It's too hard. It really is, but that next day I was like, damn, man, I don't like giving up so easy. I opened that closet and all of them germinated. They were all about this tall. I turned the lights back on, the fans and the equipment, and never quit growing since. So what I'm saying to you out there is you will make mistakes, whether you've been growing like me for 23 years, or whether you just started like Harry, or whether you're very new to it, and all this is a new world. Welcome to our channel. We'll help you through it because we've been there, and you don't just start out with beautiful freaking buds and all these buds you see on YouTube
Well,
and,
I got lucky with
high
the
times.
Gorilla cookies. I picked a Hardy Genetics, and it just was really very good for my environment.
Harry Cole is being modest. He knows quite a bit. To be honest, I'm going to, just point out we know quite a bit, like a lot of scientific aspects of things. And that's what we like bringing to you guys on the channel because they're little things that are complicated, but we break it down easy. So it's easy to digest because some of that stuff's just boring.
Yeah, no,
And it's a
when
lot of
you
knowledge to cram into your brain,
when you have to go and you have to look up every other word because they're using all these scientific words, and you're like, man, you could have either explained what that meant or just used the word in layman's
like
terms so less layman could understand it.
yes, exactly. Like, amorphous silica,
Amorphous silica. I
silica,
always
for
forget that
instance.
one.
Yeah. Silica used during flowering, but they never tell you that. They just say provide your plant with silica. It's not needed, but it helps boost the metabolism of the plant ultimately.
Right.
So all those functions that the plant does, growing and all, it's going to do it a lot more quicker, a lot more hardier. You're going to see bigger yields, all of that. It's just going to improve every stage of growth in that plant
Well,
ultimately.
you
But
do have to be careful with the silica though, because if you make a mistake like I made and you're trying to give it on every feeding from beginning to end, you're going to get a lockout from your potassium, I do believe, because silica and potassium are real similar, and the plant uptakes the silica easier than it uptakes the potassium.
yeah, go ahead and plug that video. Speaking of
Oh
which,
yeah, we have the time lapse. I mean, the next time lapse I do will definitely be better. Definitely will be better, but it's a long time lapse. A lot of music I threw in there, of just the plant growing through all stages of life, dealing with that silica deficiency, and it was a silica nutrient lockout is what happened, and I just had to kind of work my way through it by doing flushings and then trying to get it the food that it needed again. It was rough.
and Harry did a hell of a job because a lot of people focus on the plant overall, so the leaves once the plant's done and the flowers. Well, what you want to do is only focus on the flowers. On auto flowers, understand you're never going to grow too many auto flowers that come out perfect. Your leaves aren't going to end green. That's just not reality. So when you do look at that silica video, look at those buds on the Amnesia Haze, and the buds turned out great. We smoked them. We did a review.
There
They
was
could have been a little stronger in terpene profile.
Yeah, there was some diminishing on the terpenes and probably
That's
a
it.
little diminishing on the cannabinoids overall, but it still tasted good. It smoked fine and it wasn't moldy or bad to consume. So I
Yeah,
enjoyed it.
yeah, I gotta say. Now back to sorry, we got a little off task there with growing. We do that as a, growing channel, but um more changes to come. So there is a lot of moving and you'll see that, you'll see a lot of lack of settings. We apologize in advance to you guys because I don't want to put videos out there for you guys that seem half-assed. I want to, give it all the research and put effort into it. So that's not what's happening here at this channel. It's just there's a move, there's a new studio, there's a new grow room, things need set up. We are having humidity and heat issues. Harry Cole is getting his addressed and fixed in his apartment. I am as well in mine. So we're going to have a couple grow issues just due to the fact that things are fluctuating, such as heat and humidity. Because where we live, it's really hot and it's really damn humid.
And speaking of moving, we're also now diversifying the channel and trying to get it out to more platforms. So we're already posting over on Rumble. We'll start getting videos over there soon. And we have a Patreon where nothing's behind a paywall. It's all just pictures, nice, really good shots of the plants. So if you guys want to check stuff like that out, or it's not set up to actually take money just yet, but here in the near future, we'll have all that set up. So if you want to try to support us financially, awesome, that helps. But if not, it's fine. Just check out the free content.
Yeah, liking, subscribing, and sharing is literally enough. It lets YouTube know. And the problem with this type of content and sharing this type of knowledge with you guys, and this is one of the big topics for today because I have had it up to my fucking ass with it, dude. I'm gonna be honest, I ain't sugarcoating it no more. YouTube age restricts everything. Everything.
They really do.
Everything. And the thing is, we're giving you content about growing plants. We're not using, I don't even use vulgar language up until this point because I'm just so damn frustrated with YouTube, to be honest. And it's not you guys, of course, it's the algorithm. I'm trying to put out, well, we're trying to, excuse me, but we're trying to put out educational videos for you, and YouTube keeps age restricting them, which is understandable. You don't want kids looking up marijuana, but understand because I watch YouTube too. And that's why my list is blocked because I watch a lot of criminal investigation and stuff that I'm into. And there's a lot more horrific content that is not behind an age restricted wall on YouTube, and they keep hitting us. I have literally seen our views drop from 6.8K on a short to 124 because of YouTube. And when you're sitting there with almost 3,000 subscribers and you're only seeing 24 views on a video, shit just isn't adding up.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
not
and
being
it's
pushed.
because of YouTube and shadow bans.
Well,
So,
it also could be too because of an over fluctuation of content into the algorithm from all the AI slop that we're getting. And then there are a lot. I feel like when we started, there weren't as many creators as what there is now. I feel like the market is becoming oversaturated.
yes, and you know, there are people that's going to do this for a short period and fizzle out. We're not one of them. You guys are going to see us whether we're making money or not here on YouTube. So you hear that, people at YouTube and Google, if you do view these videos, we will be here, whether you want us or not. We don't care. And we're also spreading out to Patreon. We're also spreading out to Rumble. We've got a Twitter. We've got an Instagram. Come check us out on Two
Well,
Buds in a
X
Jar.
too. We're gonna start
Yes,
doing some
and
more
that's
stuff
where
with X
everything's
eventually.
uncensored. Same thing with Rumble. So if you want some 2010 YouTube content, go over there. We got you. Because that's what we miss. We miss the old YouTube content where you could say things and do things and actually get views instead of everything's being restricted. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Well, I,
You need to make a YouTube for kids and a YouTube for adults. And if you're not 18, guess what, buddy? You can't get into that
oh,
because it's screwing us as content
I had a
creators.
great idea. You remember back in the day when there was no ratings on the TV and then parents were like, "Oh no, we don't know about this content. We don't want to sit through this whole show to find out if we should let our kids watch it or not." So what did cable companies do? They made ratings. Right now YouTube has two ratings, age restricted or not age restricted. But what it should really have is a way to have like rated R, TV 14, and then like ratings for kids, like this
Yeah.
is kid stuff, so what they could do then is the parents could go in on the back end, and if they don't want their kids watching the rated R content, just go ahead and
Yeah, man.
block that child's safety thing for the kid,
Yeah.
parental controls.
It's like, bro, I'm gonna be real. Half these people that are adults that create content for kids are fucking weirdos, bro. I'm gonna go ahead and say a lot of stuff I've been wanting to say, matter of fact. So, you know, a lot of, and that's what it is. They have a lot of weirdos on freaking YouTube, man, and they go ahead and give these views to people and they glorify these people. And I know because of places, and I'm gonna plug some places like Saturated Content points these people out, all this stuff. So you have all these fucking weirdos that YouTube allows on YouTube, and we try to teach you about plants, and we're the freaking, you know, bad guys. I don't understand that.
Uh,
And they have stuff I can't even say what's on YouTube because they will definitely take this live down. But there's some fucked up shit on YouTube. And, you know, your kid is able to view this stuff. But, you know, if we make a plant about, or a video about a plant, man,
I do
it's a
have
big deal.
an awesome,
I don't
strong
understand it.
point that I can make here is, I've smoked cannabis for probably 20 years or plus. I've smoked
23
for a
here.
very long time. And
Yeah. This is another big
the
issue.
the
Go for it,
the,
Harry.
the thing is I can just not smoke. I haven't smoked since last Monday. I just
Yeah.
decided, I may not have it around, but I'm just gonna see if how it feels to not smoke.
Yeah.
And I can do that with cannabis. I can't do that with nicotine. I can't do that with caffeine. I've been trying. I can't do it. I go crazy without nicotine and caffeine, but cannabis isn't a problem. I can set it down and just
Yeah.
not do it, and I'm still creative. I still have energy. Everything's fine. So why is it so demonized again? Can you explain that to me?
Yeah, that's what I don't understand. Google and YouTube, you need to understand that where we live and what state we're in, let me make this completely black and fucking white. It's legal. Everything we do on this channel is legal. We don't sell people anything besides merchandise from the channel that, you know, we still can't do because Google and YouTube, you know? because they want to demonize this stuff. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous. And I've had enough of it. Like, you know how many times I've went to make what Matt's my dreads and go on live to bitch about this, and I had to like we had to take it down several times.
We had to censor
Several
it. We had to
times, yeah,
censor
because
it.
I'm just and I'm tired of it. Because there is way worse fucking shit on YouTube, guys. Way worse. I watch, like I said, criminal investigations, psychological minds of, demented people, because I'm into criminal investigation stuff. I like sitting there and figuring it out. But all that is all the crimes and morbidity and things that I can't mention, because YouTube will surely come in here and strike my shit down, is on there. And I don't understand, why are all these predators and all this content allowed on YouTube, and we try to make normal content to educate people about growing weed. Who cares if it's weed? It's legal here, bro. You hear that, YouTube? It's freaking legal. So,
Well, and I
I don't understand the big issue here. I don't understand why you have all this fucking garbage on your platform and all these trash ass people that are, chomos and all sorts of shit. And you go ahead and glorify them and give them the views and give their channel, knowing damn well what kind of people they are. But you sit here and you demonetize us for teaching people about a medicine and a natural plant. Fuck you for that.
that was intense, man. You're getting intense.
For real. I'm over it, dude. Like,
It
YouTube, yeah, you
it
go ahead and talk
it
for me
it, it
there.
does get frustrating. It gets really frustrating when you spend a lot of time, not only shooting the videos, editing the videos, trying to make a thumbnail that will catch people's attention, that looks good, and then you put it all up there, and YouTube goes, you get
Yeah.
13 views because we're going to age restrict it.
Yeah, and in the beginning, we thought nobody cared. Turns out everybody cares and everybody likes our content. We get good comments all the time. Very rarely do I get in there and there's a negative comment. And we appreciate you guys. This ain't toward you guys at all. This is toward the algorithm and YouTube. I want to make completely clear to Google, YouTube, and the algorithm. Fix your shit. Get these trash people the hell off of there and allow people to learn about cannabis if they're of age or in a legal state. You
Well,
can't stop it. Your platform is flooded with cannabis growers. Flooded.
a lot more since we started. Like when you
Yeah.
first showed me what a weed tuber was, it was like just like three or four people. That's all I saw was a handful of people, and now it just seems like there's been so many people coming into the cannabis creation content on YouTube, and it's like, man, it's cool to see, but there's a lot of us now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I really think they should really think about this rating idea, because if they can do ratings to where, though, this is rated R, this is rated T, and then the parents can go in and then adjust it. So if the kids don't, then you don't need to age restrict everything, and the content can flow out to the people that it's meant to flow out to.
Yes. And it's all since Google took over YouTube. And that's when we got
We
censorship.
dodged a bullet, though. We could have had Disney.
Yeah. Yeah.
We wouldn't be here if we had Disney.
Yeah, yeah. No. I'm not here. Look, I'm a full grown man, and so is Harry Cole. We're not here, Google and YouTube, to make content for children. That's for fucking weirdos, bro. We're here to make cannabis content straight up. So stop paying attention to what we're doing on your platform and pay more attention to the other people that you should be worried about. That's all I'm saying here, man. You know,
Yeah,
it's absolutely ridiculous the crap they allow on there and then the stuff they turn around and slap and demonetize. I've seen a lot of gun tubers go down the drain because of, YouTube stuff. I've seen just a lot of channels that were really good and just taken down. And people want that 2010 YouTube back. They want the cussing, they want the comedy, they want the drama, they
well,
like
and,
violence.
and then
I'm not
too.
saying I do or promote it for that matter. I don't. But I'm just saying, in movies and fictionary purposes, it's entertaining, like John Wick, for instance, or Commando from
The
1987, or
Matrix,
The Matrix, from
Terminator.
Terminator stuff. I know those are all old movies. Obviously, you can tell we're millennials, but you know what
Old
I'm saying.
millennials.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. But it's just one of those things, man. It's create division. kids over here, adults over here. This is adult content. You get paid for this. This is kid content. If there's kid creators, I have no fucking
Well,
idea, but they get
there
paid.
are,
Oh,
and
okay.
it's I know because when I look at my kids' feeds on their YouTube, it's all other kids. Kids don't watch adults. They just don't do it. Even if they
Yeah.
could, they're not going to because that's not their age group. They can't associate with us in that way because their brains aren't the same. We had completely different experiences in life.
Yeah. I mean, come
I
on,
have
guys.
like 30 years of experience of different of life, you know? It's
Exactly. And take into consideration, think of a 10-year-old boy or a 6-year-old girl. They're going to sit down and watch a video on YouTube about nitrogen toxicity. Are they going to, learn how to flower and cure plants? Are they going to look and actively search for that information? No. No, they're not.
even
I'm
as
not
a
saying
young
cannabis is bad in any way. Every parent has their way of explaining it if they're a user of cannabis. But I'm saying a kid isn't actively going to get on there and search that content. So create division. This is kid tube. This is adult tube.
well, just if they had the
you
ratings would
know?
make it all really simple because then and again too, I don't see kids watching adults. They watch other kids. And if you had the ratings on there, that would just be more of a gap, a separation to where these teenage kids might be interested in what teenage kids are, and kids will be interested in what kids are interested in. And then adults are going to be interested in what adults are interested in. So, so it's not all just
And if you guys
jumbled together.
And if you guys, a little off topic, but if you guys wonder where that energy came up with, that was 2 years of dealing with YouTube's bullshit before I got behind the camera and was like, all right, assholes, I got you. Yeah, I'm tired of it, guys. I mean, every time you go to create something and show somebody it or give somebody information, it's age restricted. All the content we made today, you guys won't see tomorrow because it's age restricted and they have to take it off and I have to appeal it every single day. So 7, 8 times a day, I have to wake up in the morning and appeal it. And they give us all the content, remove the age restrictions. Why the hell do you even put them on there to begin
Well,
with?
it does slow down our flow. It
Yeah.
holds it up to where the video in the first 24 hours isn't going to get the views. So then it's like, oh, well, your video's getting views, but it's after that first 24 hours. It's not immediate.
Well, yeah, guys, and I know being a YouTuber from somebody that isn't doing it, let me explain to you just somebody that's behind the camera. It is a whole hell of a lot more than just putting up a camera and talking to somebody on the internet like I am now. It's a whole hell of a lot. You eat shit and breathe your channel. Every day you wake up to comments, you answer those comments, you create more content, you upload that content. It is a full-time job.
You're always
Yeah.
writing, thinking, trying to come up with a new idea that's fresh or affordable because,
Yes.
you might not be making that kind of revenue from YouTube.
You create relationships with your followers. You see constant people in there. You create a community. You create friendships. And that's one of the most amazing parts. The second most amazing part is that you can benefit this and create it into a lifestyle. We hope to incorporate it into an LLC and eventually have our names on a jar of weed with genetics we've created. What's up in the comments, Harry?
John Boy says YouTube owes me 119 of super chats from 6 years ago.
Yeah, see, what's up with that? I mean, they should refund that back to John Boy's freaking credit card or however he paid for it.
Right? Yeah, I think
You
you
know?
can link it to different
Yeah,
things,
it's like
but
yeah, you can have credit card, Chime, PayPal, and shit. Yeah, but still, like it's messed up. And then they don't only financially like what was his name again? I'm sorry, man.
John Boy.
John Boy, like they messed him up out of $116, and that's just in super chats, and there's super chats all the time, and it's like some channels can't even get that. Like, we have to jump through hoops on YouTube, so many subscribers, so many views, so many likes, so many this, so many that. And then they finally look over your channel. And if you have a bunch of age restrictions, I removed one day 700 age restrictions from our channel once YouTube allowed cannabis to be back up on there. And then all of a sudden, all the videos of the vapes and stuff, they couldn't tell, like these right here, these THC weed vapes, they couldn't tell what it was. Age restriction. And now that I just said that on the video plus cussing, age restriction, because
Yeah,
you don't have freedom of speech.
yeah, this is probably age restricted now.
Yeah.
Cheers,
Cheers,
Canada.
Canna family. If you guys are watching, hitting your bongs or your pipes at home, much love. Channel's going to turn around a little better. It's going to go back to like 2010 since they want to age restrict everything we do anyway. We're going to make more entertaining content for you and just be a little more non-filtered like we normally are. Yeah, you know, because that's what YouTube's missing. So cheers, guys. I need to hit this damn thing anyway. Telling you, YouTube, man, god damn.
Oh,
Like,
that was definitely age restricted.
yeah, it's age restricted now. It's fine. I don't care. But problem is, that's our issue, guys. So if you're wondering what's going on with our content,
John Boy said
yeah, what John Boy said.
Teespring store is selling my merchandise and I haven't seen a dime. But people have made videos of my merchandise they reviewed 100.
See, that's messed up because what they're doing is they're partnering him. So he's a content creator. So they're partnering with him, but they're keeping all the money that his products are bringing in, and including the money from the initial products. So he can't in return get better things in his store, more stuff in his store. That's messed up.
Yeah, that's
That's
really messed
shitty,
up.
but that's shitty business practice, straight up.
Yeah, that's shady, man.
Yeah.
That's
Now, I would make sure if somebody brought me money like that, and I was a company like YouTube, I'd make sure they got their money because I want them to bring more money in. It's just business logic,
yeah. I
you
mean,
know?
I
Like,
guess it's it's going to be a lot of trouble when they're like, oh, we need more merchandise, and you're like, well, I need my money.
yes, I can put, because that's what it does, dude. Like, if I wanted to make hoodies for you guys, I'd have to go spend a lot of money on just regular plain hoodies that are a higher class and not like, made Wish and Temu type hoodies. And then I would have to get embroidered logos, and all that is very expensive. And by the time I pay $40, $50 a hoodie, and then I charge what, 60, 70, 65 maybe. So there's some things that you got to watch out because they'll just jack up the price. So even when you're a channel like we are and you're doing merch, you got to watch what you do because it's like if you choose like hoodies, beanies, jerseys, you're going to be paying out the butt. And then your people that are watching your channel and want that merchandise are going to be paying out the butt because you had to. I looked up hoodie prices and to get like really nice hoodies are $56 plain. And then to get it embroidered is another $20, $30. So you're looking at already an $80 hoodie. So, you put hoodies on YouTube, for instance, for $80, people are like, yeah, fucking right. Like, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them because I would say the same damn thing. So you can't do hoodies, you can't do beanies unless they're really cheap.
Well,
T-shirts are easier to do,
maybe if we knew how
you
to
know,
sew.
and that's just a little, yeah, if we knew, yeah, I don't, I do dreadlocks. That's it, man. That's all I know how to do. I can't sew, man, to save my life. I wish I knew how to, but that's messed up. John Boy, dude, I feel for you out there. Shout out to you, man. Oh,
John Boy says, I thought I was subbed. I am now again. I said, thanks, man. He says, it's all Google owned.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about, man. Thanks for the sub, John Boy. We greatly appreciate it. Any type of, it's not even financial, any type of support toward this channel and what we do really helps get the message out. It shows the algorithm, it shows Google, it shows YouTube, hey, I like what I'm watching. Hell yeah to these guys, or hell yeah to the content I'm watching, and it really helps out. And a lot of people don't think about it. We've had thousands of views and a lot of people don't subscribe sometimes. So if you're watching, you haven't subscribed or don't know, please subscribe, hit that notification bell because that will show these companies that you enjoy this type of content. I even watch other weed tubers, I do. And I grew up watching weed tubers, and always knew about a bunch about weed, like more than the average person. And was up there with professionals I would talk to at places and stuff. So once I improved my knowledge, I was just like, I want to spread it with the world. And YouTube and Google is just like, oh hell no. And fuck them for that, man. No, that's just not right. You're really dampening creators, man. And it's
Well,
not just weed tubers, it's everybody.
yeah.
Like, I understand if you're, not to cut you off, but I understand if content is very vulgar or extremely violent or extremely X-rated, I guess would be the safest way to put that here on YouTube. But and that's another thing. I gotta sit here and explain this to you guys, but you know, and I have to edit my language, man. But
That's
like I said, but
self-censoring.
I can understand they don't want content like that, is where I'm getting at. I can fully understand. But if I'm just sitting here and showing you guys a strand or a cart, I'm like, yes, this is garbage. Don't spend your money on this. Or yes, and it's a good product, and you guys are enjoying the videos and you're interacting, you're meeting other growers, because I see a lot of you guys talk to each other in the comment section too. I know Coconut Grows is always in there. Kingfish Phil's another one. Michael, I forgot his number on his username, and there's just tons of little smaller grow channels that watch our channel, and I watch their stuff. It's a huge community and it's a huge group you build, and you really, condense that or minimize that by not allowing that type of content, man. You really do, and
Yeah.
other people's as well. So, and
Well,
it's just ridiculous.
it's
And
not
I'm sorry we got on here and had just a giant bitch fit. My bad, Harry. I keep cutting you off. Go ahead. I'll
but
shut up.
it's not just that either though. By all the self-censoring and all the censoring and, oh, you can't say this and you can't say that. Well, first off, it makes it harder to deliver any kind of message in a coherent way. And then two, it also takes all that creative ideas and it sticks it in this box, and then it starts squeezing that box until there's just nothing left, because everything outside the box requires a little bit more, a little things that are now not allowed because it's just too vulgar, it's just too out there. Like even something as far as like the fake blood. There's so many movies, cartoons, shows where they use fake blood from time to time, because guess what? When people get injured, they bleed. But if it's made in the context of like a entertainment, a show, and it's stated that it's not a real thing that you're watching. But then again, that goes into those ratings. If they had ratings and not just two ratings, they had more than two ratings, I think it would work out better.
There's been people that's been age restricted that are smokers like weed tubers where the set's too foggy, whether it's because of vape, whether it's because of incense. I mean, dude, if we're old enough to smoke nicotine products and buy cannabis states legally, or cannabis products and use them legally in our state, who the fuck cares? Who cares?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a big deal. You guys allow YouTube, is who I'm talking to. YouTube allows people to drink and get shit faced on camera. YouTube allows, cigarettes and cigar reviews, and that's not age restricted. So it's okay for 10-year-old little Timmy to get on there and be like, oh, cigarettes. Woo. Something even worse.
Yeah, nicotine is
you know?
horrible. It's
Come on,
so
bro.
horrible. Like,
Like, stop pushing alcohol and tobacco. If you guys use those at home, I'm not, what's it called? I'm not preaching to you. I used to drink. I don't now. I haven't for years. I don't like alcohol. I used to smoke. Now I vape. I prefer it a lot more over the 2 packs of cigarettes I smoked every day. Sometimes pack and a half, 2 packs. So, that's just my personal preference. But why is YouTube pushing stuff that definitely kills people, definitely, incites violence? Alcohol does, domestic violence as well. Why are you pushing something like that? But you're so pissed off about cannabis, where everybody's joking and sharing knowledge and gardening tips.
yeah, it's literally
Gardening tips,
growing.
bro. Like, come on.
And it's
Come
not and it's
on.
not like it's a simple plant to grow either. There's a
No.
lot of things that plant goes through, and it's dioecious. So you could have a male, and if you don't know how to identify that, man, that's going to be messed up.
Yeah, cannabis is not an easy plant to grow. It is not.
John Boy says, I was selling a lot of coffee cups. YouTube gave me a firearm violation during a live stream when I showed a toy gun while being hashtag live live.
Yeah. Yeah, they're big. Well, you guys will see in the shorts. If you're curious about what I'm talking about right now, just look through enough of our shorts. But yes, I honestly, I own a bunch of firearms. I do enjoy firearms. I do enjoy guns. I know a lot about them just as much as I do cannabis. And I do feel if you are under the influence or you have been smoking cannabis all day or, drinking alcohol all day, you should not, get in a car, let alone pick up a firearm or operate it or shoot it. And that's coming from somebody that's, yeah, I love weed, man. I have an infinity with this plant. I have ever since a young age. So, I get it, but he got flagged for a toy gun. And YouTube, again, if you need to fix your algorithm. You need to be able to tell the difference between a toy gun and an actual firearm, at the same time. If this guy, for instance, is a gun channel, then if he has a firearm on a live, well, he's probably talking about it. See, if I was doing a gun channel, I couldn't even talk to you guys and pull it out of a holster, because if I pulled it out of the holster, unloaded it, and showed you guys, they would shut it down. And that's just because either you're using cannabis or, whatever the case. As you can see, there's no firearms around. They're all locked up in my safe and they are all unloaded. But I do love firearms. I go to the range quite often, and YouTube hates that stuff too. They hate guns, they hate tattoos, they hate cannabis content. They hate everything I like, man.
All right, so
Like
going down the list, Wild Boy Bill Gross says, "Cheers, everyone."
Wild who?
Wild Bill Gross.
Wild Bill Gross, shout out to you, buddy. How you doing, man? Cheers.
See, then we got John Boy said, "The box I took it out of showed a toy gun." We have Lucas Santos. He says, "This is not only YouTube's fault, unfortunately. We're not considered just growers in most countries, and that's just sad. I feel
Yeah.
like it's more of a global social issue
Yeah.
as well."
Yeah, and see, I agree totally. Whose
Yeah.
name was that again? The global social issue?
Lucas Santos.
Lucas Santos, I 100% agree with you because it still is very taboo. It is. It's legal in our state, but if you walked around and smoked, people would look at you like, what the hell are you doing? And you do get looked upon, down upon in certain establishments we go into if you smell like weed. Some places don't care, but, other places do, and it's still a really relatively taboo thing, and people don't understand it. That's why people often fear, guys, what they do not understand. So if you have full knowledge of something, you are less fearful of it. Trust and believe that is the case. you know Like me, I'm not afraid of nothing on this earth, but I am afraid of great white sharks. I know everything about the great white shark. And trust me, even learning more about it made me a little more fearful of the creature, because it is a monster, dude. And its whole primary existence is to tear shit apart and live and run that ocean.
They're the
That's,
garbage disposals of the ocean. But
yes.
the thing about a
You'll never
shark
see this
is,
man, and you'll never see us do videos in salt water on this
yep,
channel. Sorry to kill your dreams there. I mean,
well,
unless Harry
yeah,
dives in, 'cause I'm sure as hell not going.
they will on a green screen.
Yeah, on a green screen. Yeah, absolutely. But so he showed. I agree with Lucas Santos. 100%. It is still a taboo issue. John Boy, man, having a gun on a box, it's like
It
that's
said toy
a
gun on the
toy.
box.
Yeah, and it even says, I mean, come on, YouTube, identify, like, fix your algorithm system. This is why your platform's going to crash and people are going to go over to places like Rumble, because you can have freedom of speech. You can show toy
I mean,
guns
I've been
and
checking
not get in
out.
trouble.
I've
You
been
can
checking
show
out the
real.
platforms. It's kind
Yeah,
of cool.
Rumble's really nice, guys. We're not like sponsored or any of that crap, but from what I understand and what I read, you got a lot more freedom as a content creator. So my actually advice to John Boy is make a Rumble, dude, with your content and your merch items, and put the link to your merch items in your Rumble. And then you won't get flagged like that. I mean, keep it going with YouTube and stuff, but I would do that too. I mean, honestly, that way,
Diversify.
yeah, you will, yeah, go, and you can go live, dude, on, Rumble.
Yep, you can go
Yeah,
live
so
over
go
there
ahead,
too.
if you want to. It's up to you, but I suggest it 'cause you have more freedom and you won't get flagged, man. But I mean, if you want to do YouTube and both, or if you just want to do YouTube and you don't want to mess with that, I totally understand too. So, I mean, it's just some good advice. That's what I would do. We did. So, you know what I'm saying? So, even Harry agreed, like, we have more freedom of speech, and we'll always upload on YouTube. We're always going to be on YouTube. It's always going to be consistent. You're always going to see us here, but just know we probably have a lot more, exciting content over there because we're allowed to do more. There is no, hey, you can't do, here's a book in a library in the back after you're done with that of
Yeah.
what you can't
Well,
do
they're a
here.
bit more
You know?
conservative. They believe in free speech.
Yeah, yeah. And we don't say, guys, we don't get on there. I kind of crashed out out a little bit, I feel. But, I don't
Just
get
a
it.
little bit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's like, dude, it's been held in for 2 years, man. And that wasn't to anybody on the internet or any of my viewers or subscribe or viewers and subscribe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
just talking direct because I felt like this has affected me. So I know it's, pissed you off, but damn, man, it's burnt my butt for years or 2 years, man. But yeah, so it's all directed toward YouTube, and it's just frustrating, guys. You got to understand. You're trying to create a living, you're trying to create a business, and you're trying to create free promotion. And that's kind of what we use YouTube for. We promote ourselves on there because right now we're not getting paid by YouTube. We pay for everything. Everything you've ever seen in any of our videos, I paid for or Harry Cola paid for. One of the two. And we've paid thousands, man. And I once went out and purchased a $500 student glass and made a video on it. We've put our money into it, man. And, YouTube keeps trying to take everything from it. And it's obnoxious, man, at this point. But
John Boy says, I've got a Rumble X, D Live. I'm just not much for any platforms anymore.
it's understandable. It puts YouTube can put a bad taste in your mouth, man. Like once you get kind of, age restricted, knocked down. And there's times like we were making 8.6 on shorts and then somehow it died down
But
and
I think
it
the
was
dream is to be able to get a show on like Netflix or Hulu, to where you can make like really cool stuff with bigger budgets.
yeah, yeah, and that's a good thing, man. We just want to make a business and be promoted on YouTube. That's pretty much it. And we want to teach you guys about, the
And
love of the plant and how to garden the plant, harvest the plant, methods that'll help you, knowledge you may not have known. And we want to share, this knowledge with a group and a community ultimately and build a cool group of community with no trolls, no assholes, and we remove them. Trust me, I take care of it personally. If there's anybody being a dick constantly in the comment section, they'll be removed. And I'll do it myself and I'll address it. We already had somebody like that. We're not going to give that person any name or their channel, but we already had somebody on one live stream that was just totally ignorant, just to put lightly. And, as soon as we got off live, I went and handled that real quick.
Corin says, I'm ready for the Two Buds movie.
Yeah, bud, man, we got a sitcom and it is being worked on. There's 6, 7 episodes, Harry.
There's 6 of them.
6.
Well, it's got to the point to where we are in pre-production, but we're not quite in production yet. We had to get a few things to fall into place. Then Dustin had to move, so once all that gets sorted out, we'll be able to get into actual production. But it will take some time to get that done. It's a lot to do. It's just to shoot one episode will take probably a day and a half to get a whole episode flushed out,
Yeah.
maybe two.
And that's, if you're wondering, guys, that's what we're waiting on. Me and Harry
Yeah.
kind of got to, after we shoot and film and do all of our stuff today, we just got to go over, hey, what's a date that'll work for him, basically. And then, like I said, we're moving the studio and the grow room, excuse me. And once we do that, everything will be good for the sitcom. We'll go ahead and put that out to YouTube. It won't be behind a paywall, of course, because I know we do got a lot of people that do like this, platform and this channel that we've created.
Well,
And
I grew up with
you
the
know,
cinema. I watched. For me, the TV was the babysitter. I watched Twilight Zones and all kinds of shows and movies. And a show to me, it has a certain feel to it. It has those credits in the beginning or in the end or both sometimes. It has that intro. It has the outro. It has more substance to it in the center and dialogue, jokes, action, all kinds of different things that can happen, right? And
yes, sir.
that's a show. It's entertaining. It's grabbing. It's, oh man, what's going to happen next? I can't wait till that next week to watch that episode.
Yeah.
And that's something that YouTube really lacks is there's no creators that are making things that's like, man, I can't wait till that next episode of so and so creator, because nobody's doing that.
Yeah.
And I think this
Yeah.
first person that starts doing something like that, people are going to go, oh,
Yes,
that's a
because,
show.
and I'm glad Harry brought that up, guys, because I feel like that's what YouTube is lacking. If you look at any content creator, and I'm not saying like we're the best, this ain't an ego thing, nothing of that nature. Um, this is just saying from somebody that watches other YouTubers all day, every day. That's what I do. It's very stagnant. It's very the same cut processed stuff. And they could do better, but there's some boundaries where YouTube won't allow them. So I'm not, shitting on any creator basically, for lack of better terminology. I'm just saying YouTube creates that barrier. And then there's a lot of people that are just rinse and repeat. As long as it gets views and as long as it gets likes, they'll put the same shit out there consistently, time and time again. And it's just brain rot content at that point. And you start, there's a lot of content creators I followed for years and I loved, and they did the same shit over and over, rinse and repeat, and it got old, man. It got stagnant. So we want to bring back 2010 YouTube where there's, if we get age restricted, just look, because there's probably reasons why it says we haven't uploaded in 5 days, because we have, and you just won't get, notifications because of YouTube. But we're putting that out there because I know people crave that, man. I know from me watching YouTube since it started till now, I want that. Back, and I'm going to bring that. I'm going to make sure it's entertaining. Me and Harry Cola both. We're going to make sure it's well writ out, and you're going to have IRL content too. So maybe if scripted, put together type of stoner comedy or movie type stuff ain't your stuff, well, there's tons of other content because we do everything. If you look at our channel, there's nothing we really don't cover, and if there is, we probably are in the midst of making a video of it. We're very up on it, and we tried to create a video for everything and anything that has to do with cannabis. That way, if you ever had a question in your mind like what the hell or how the hell, you just go to that channel and bam, there it is. And we create there's a lot of awesome growers in our community. There's a lot of well-knowledge people. There's a lot of beginners too, and there ain't nothing wrong with that. No one's going to be a dick to you here, man. You're just going to get taught, and the right ways, or maybe how to work with what you have, and we'll get you on the right track, dude. I've been there. Harry's been there. We've had lack of money for, equipment, had to resort to natural elements to put. We've done it all, man.
I'm right now growing with two what are they, Walmart lights, like
Yeah.
$20 Walmart
Yeah,
lights.
he's growing with Walmart lights. He's got AC Infinity lights, but he's growing right now with Walmart lights out of a bathtub, and they're doing good, bro.
Yeah,
So, and it's
yeah.
interesting, like what YouTuber does that shit, Harry Cola, man.
Well,
So it's
because
like,
my
hell yeah.
bathroom has been having really excellent stability in its conditions, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just there are slight fluctuations, but
It
it's
does.
really good in there for most of the days, most of the time. So it's just
Absolutely.
surprising to me that I have this tent that's designed for growing, and it does work. AC Infinity is awesome, but the
Yeah.
bathtub's also pretty awesome too if you're lacking the money for a tent.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's many ways.
We got some
Oh,
comments.
hold on. We're going to get in the comment section, then we'll continue the live stream.
Corin said, "I'm ready for the two." I said 6 episodes. Then he said, "I'll show my folks the episode. I've watched a handful of times." Um,
Hey, shout out to you, Corns. Thank you, sir.
John
Much
Boy says
appreciated.
he's in Tennessee and it's not allowed here.
Same thing in Texas. Tennessee and Texas are, bad states to have cannabis. They really hate it. You can't even have lotion with CBD in it. Texas is so bad. Or CBD products or any Delta 8 or nothing. You can have no hemp derived products even. Like, but go ahead.
What else we got? He said he wanted to do a grow channel, but he can't. That was John
Understandable.
Boy.
Understandable.
Lucas Santos says, "I'm all in for about this content."
Thank you,
Corinth
Lucas Santos. Shout out to you, sir.
Corinth says early 2010 YouTube was peak.
Thank you. Yeah, 2010 was, I gotta say. And that's what we want to bring back. Honestly, we want that real life, raw content where we're not just sitting here, and we are who we are, man, in videos. The only thing that's censored out is the cussing. That's about it. Harry don't cuss as much. It's very rare he will, but I'm like a sailor. I'm not going to lie sometimes. I try not to be like that, but it's the more stoned I get, the more fucks come out. So, yeah, but go ahead.
Wild Bill Grows says harvest video next week. Need to find out where I'm drying since dry tent is veg tent again. I know how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah, every time, man, you have so many, and that's the thing. It's like you learn. It's like, man, I need a tent to germinate, a tent for this, a tent for that, a tent for that. Yeah, and as a grower, guys, you can never have too many tents, and it's all set up, budget, and what you're working with, the property and everything, whether you can grow indoors, outdoors, but it's totally understandable. Because when I cut down these grape apes, I'm going to have some growing and I'm going to have some upside down. You can do that too. You can have one still flowering and have your flowering one that you harvest upside down. You know,
It's wild.
yeah, but make sure your light shuts off. Mine don't, so I have to cut it down, wet trim it, put it on the dry rack, which I'll show you guys. But we'll be looking forward. Wild Bill Grows.
Yep, Wild Bill
Wild Bill
Grows.
Grows. We'll be checking that video out for sure, sir. I'll show you mine too as well on the grape ape when I cut that down and harvest it, and it's going to be one beautiful girl. I just did a short, and these buds, it just doesn't do it justice. The leaves are hammered on them, man. I'm not going to lie. A couple plants look really good, but the heat did a number on the leaves, but the buds all look beautiful, man. So hopefully it turns out for you and happy growing.
Let's see, we got John Boy says lots of CBD products here in the Tennessee.
Okay, so yeah, usually if that's the gateway though. If you got CBD in there, that's how Earth State stayed for a while, and then it was like, and eventually, you got to think, I mean, it's all over the United States going to be able to buy and smoke recreational cannabis. So let's say you have two neighboring states like South Carolina and North Carolina, right? Let's say South Carolina makes it legal, but North Carolina does not. Well, what's going to happen? Everybody from North Carolina is going to go up to South Carolina and they're going to leave South Carolina and come back. So they have weed. And then this is going to become an issue. And then the governor's going to be like, well, I'm tired of throwing everybody in jail and being a dick, so maybe I'll make weed legal, you know?
I don't know, man. They do make money for putting people in jail too.
Put people in jail for actual fucking crimes, man, not weed. Weed is
Yeah,
not a
it is
crime.
ridiculous. It is
Yeah, that's
ridiculous.
stupid. Like if it was John Boy said he couldn't grow, like if he
Yeah,
wanted to grow, like he's growing a plant. You're really gonna put a man in jail for growing a damn plant. It don't hurt kids, it don't hurt animals, it don't hurt your neighbors, it
yeah.
don't
I
even
mean,
hurt you. There's no
technically,
scientific evidence
yeah,
or medical.
technically it helps you because it produces a ton of oxygen. But you could
Yeah,
go out there and take a bite out of the plant, and the worst thing that could happen is you have an upset stomach, and that's
yeah,
about
because
it.
yeah, just like if you went outside, guys, I know this gonna sound stupid, like, why the hell would I do that? But if you went outside and there's just like a maple tree and you ate a handful of maple leaves, it ain't gonna kill you. But unless you have an allergic
It might.
reaction. No, well, yeah, it could be sprayed in the environments and pollution. So,
Could be
okay, never mind that.
fungicide on it
Yeah,
or something.
yeah, fungicide and pests. So, yeah.
Pesticide, insecticide.
But if
So
it was clean and you did that, your body would just recognize it as a foreign material and not food like the normal diet you guys would eat. And that could make you sick. So essentially, you're not poisoned or nothing from the cannabis plant. It's just the raw plant material that's not like cucumber, watermelon, kiwi, strawberry, something like that. You know,
see what else do we
go
got
for it,
here.
man.
Wild Bill Grow says I've never edited a video yet.
Shout out to you, sir.
Tylo D says, hey, hey, hey.
Tylo D, what's up, bud?
Is it Tylo
Oh, you did
G?
Tylo G.
Yeah,
Let me
Ty
see.
like Ty, Low,
Oh,
and G.
yep, Tylo G. Shout out to you, man. Making sure we get the names right.
Uh, let's see if there's anything else. Oh, they were just talking to each other in the
Oh,
comments.
okay. Okay, but anyway, continuing, guys, man. See, and that's why I gotta say, man, if Dude State in Tennessee allows CBD products, I guarantee within the next few years, because I'm sure a bunch of neighboring states, I'm not familiar with Tennessee personally, but I'm sure a bunch of neighboring states will eventually legalize it. Then they'll have transportation in and out illegally. Then they'll be like, we gotta fix this and let's make it legal. Because that's basically what happened.
I
The
just
state
don't.
above us legalized it and the state below we're in, it was illegal and everybody was going up there because it's only 2 hours away and coming right back and having weed. And it's just like, man, you just quit putting people in jail for smoking weed and growing weed. Stop doing it. It's stupid. It's been stupid since years ago. It's a plant. It is a plant. That's all it is with flowers on it. And the only thing that actually gets you high is the trichomes. The
Well,
trichomes hold a psychoactive property in cannabinoids.
it might have a
Yeah, and
mental,
terpenes affect you
I,
mentally, yeah,
it might
but
have a mental addiction to it slightly, but
yeah,
physically, it has no physical addiction,
no.
not like nicotine or caffeine.
No, Harry smoked for years and quit and was fine. He had more energy a little bit, I
Yeah,
could say. I mean, other than that, he was a little more alert, a little more talkative, but I mean, he's still alert, talkative.
right?
The same with me, I was, but I don't know. Anybody else in the comment?
No,
Oh, okay.
I was just checking.
But anyway, so that's long story short, to end the crash out of YouTube, sorry, apologize for all you guys that had to endure that. But it's been 2 years coming, and you won't hear it on any other episodes or platforms. We're not going to carry it out any further. So I'm going to, just close it with this. Just give people freedom of speech and stop trying to put people in a box just because they're trying to educate people. That's all I'm saying. And if you have a problem with kids viewing adult content on your platform, keep them away and create a separate one. Because we like cussing, we like drama. Some of us like drama. Some of us like, theatrical violence that's staged and stuff in like movies or maybe a YouTube channel or whatever the hell it may be. Some of us enjoy this stuff, and most of America just wants
Stuff
2010
blowing up.
YouTube back. Yeah, we like stuff blowing up. We like action. We like drama, suspense, all that stuff. So we're just going to incorporate it back to YouTube, man. And hopefully we can inspire some other YouTubers that be like, all right, yeah, and we'll see the reaction to the audience and how much you guys dig
Well,
it, man.
I think
Ultimately,
Wild Bill Gross says he never edited a video yet.
yeah, that's how
Um,
many. Yeah,
and like so, editing's not for everybody. Some people like me, I love editing. It's really fun
hate
to
it.
me.
I hate it.
He doesn't edit. I love editing. It's so much fun. Like even when there was a time where I was frustrated with YouTube and all this work I was doing, but then like I started doing the editing process and I'm just like, but I really enjoy doing this. It's fun. Because it's fun to be able to you're like the Twilight Zone, you control the saturation of the color, you control the vertical, the horizontal, you control so many things, and
And
you can
little
get really in
aspects, yeah.
depth into it too. And
Yeah.
there's just so you can do tracking and
And Harry gets better and better and better, and he is the tech guy. See, originally, guys, I'll explain this because I never really broke it down. But when I started this channel, I came up with the idea. Okay. And this ain't like I did this thing. Just hear me out, guys. This is just the beginning. And then I'm like, Harry, man, you've worked with computers. You've done this with cameras. You know this. You can learn this shit. This shit's easier for you. It's frustrating for me, man. So can you help me with this and edit videos? And then it was like, you know what? I wanted him to be a bigger part of production. So slowly, I'm not going to lie, I got him on camera. I got him on live streams now. And now he does his own videos, his own shorts, and they're good. And everybody's a little awkward when they first get behind a camera. Harry Cola was no exception. He was too. I was too. Some of my videos were I look back at them, I'm like, oh my God, man. Like, this is still on our channel. Ugh. But I leave them up there because it shows how much we've improved. So I hate that YouTube recommends our old videos because some of them old videos have got 16, 17,000 views, man. And it's like, that's what they're coming into. They're seeing this old production, this old video, this goofy awkwardness behind the camera. And it's just not appealing, man. I watch YouTube, like I said, every day. I'm sure you guys out there watching either doing your breaks. Sometimes you watch it all day. Maybe you're a YouTuber, so I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Sometimes you go back in your old videos and you're like, what the hell did I do? Yeah, but never be that person where you go back on your old videos on YouTube and be like, why the hell did I say that? So if you're ever too triggered or angry about something, I'm going to give a good piece of advice that has nothing to do with cannabis. Stay off of YouTube and social media
yeah, period.
until you
turn off your phone or something.
Yeah,
And
you
that way.
plateau and relax. So I've seen a lot of people's career go down the shitter because they get on there mad as hell. We had somebody in comments and they had a YouTube channel and they were just trolling everybody and being a dick and the whole stream. And I noticed it. And, my blood was boiling, man. So once I got off, we blocked them. We took care of it. And I'm not going to name no names or go on crash out and go on no tangents. But it was a serious ignorant ass problem that we had to deal with. And essentially, we got it out of the way. And you just move on, man. You don't go live and you don't, go be like, you know what, motherfucker, you don't do that, dude. Just for, that's a good piece of advice, guys. If you're ever just angry and you want to crash out on somebody on the internet, don't do it. Don't do it because people say crazy shit. There's, crazy threats in Minecraft. If you know what I'm talking about, I got to edit that. But, and the people do all this stuff and they just look horrible, man. Everybody gets mad. That's why sometimes everything you do and say and what you live and, and so it shouldn't go on the internet. If you're one of those people who can't control themselves and you're crashing out doing crazy shit on the internet 24/7, like some lolcows like King Cobra, Josh Block, Boogie 2988, if you're one of, and I know some of you guys know those names out there, and that's funny if you guys know who King Cobra is. King Cobra JFS, old duster
Okay.
head.
Fix
But
that saturated content.
yeah, yeah. So, but anyway, don't do stuff like that on an internet. No matter if you're just on here and you're wondering and you make completely different content, it's not dramatic. Phil, I'm gonna give you a good piece of advice. Don't go on there pissed and crash out. Don't do that on social media. Don't do it on Facebook. Don't do it on Instagram. Don't do it. Just don't. And you'll have a better, chance of having a YouTube career in life, just learn a better way to deal with that, man. Whether you like getting tattooed, whether you like working out, going to a gun range, going to a paintball range, working on cars, whatever it is, your hobbies, going fishing. I mean, everybody has different hobbies, whatever. I'm just trying to name a bunch of stuff. But, it's better just to go do that and chill your brain than get on the internet and crash out. I wanted to at the guy that was in the comments section. Trust me, I was mad. Yeah, because it ruined the stream for everybody. But I didn't, man. You can do the same. So that's just a good piece of advice from two buds in a jar. Don't do it. Just calm the hell down. But Guff, what's up in the comments?
Let's see what we got. We got a bunch of things. Let's see. Tylo G said I like editing too. John Boy said that's Jackson, Tennessee.
Jackson, Tennessee.
While Bill Crow says soon I'll have to start the first documentary video that never were posted.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, absolutely. Get more content out there. Yeah.
John Boy says it was being delivered over 1,000 pounds. What? That's wild.
That is wild,
That's a
man.
lot.
Yeah, that's a lot of weed, man. 1,000 pounds. I wish I could grow that in my grow room.
1,000 pounds in one tank.
Yeah, that would be, yeah. I just strap a GoPro on me and upload every day.
Just
Like,
dive
hey,
in.
yeah. Like,
Goes
we're
goes to work.
exfoliating
Goes,
today, guys.
goes
All you see is
spelunking.
leaves flying.
Like, what are you doing in there? I'm looking for mold.
Yep, looking for mold. Stuck in this bud. That'd be great. I would do it. Absolutely. And I would go strap my ass with a GoPro and just film every minute. Absolutely. That'd be awesome.
Tylo G says it's hard watching my old videos. Haha.
Yeah. Yeah, same. Same. Tylo?
Tylo G.
Tyler OG, man. Yes. Honestly, I look back on my videos and I'm like, dude, this is shot so poorly and it's so badly, because Harry was just starting editing. I was just starting YouTube. And there's a certain flow. When you get behind a camera, man, I'm going to be honest to give you guys some tips, man. You can't be awkward. You got to really just pretend what I do. And the best thing you can do is you just pretend this right here, this camera is just somebody and you're talking to them and you're addressing them. So, like earlier when I was angry at YouTube, I pretend that was somebody from YouTube. And, that's how I address that camera, and that's how you got to do it. But you look back on your old videos and you're like, God, I've come a long way. My content's got so much better. And that's for every content, whether they're weed tubers, whether they're gun tubers, whether they're, I don't know, there's tons of tubers, but,
Yeah.
just YouTubers,
It's just practice. Practice makes
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah.
We got
Go ahead.
Lori Winkins says, "Hey, hey, two buds."
Lori Weekend, We
Winkins.
Weekends,
Wikens.
Wickens.
Wickens. Okay,
Lori
sorry.
Wickens. Shout out to you. What's going on?
Uh,
We've had quite the stream so far. We have covered a lot. Some of the most interesting stuff I'd say was a little earlier, but we still got a lot more.
yeah, we got about another hour into the stream.
Yeah, we got another hour.
Um,
Then we got
Tylo G says, "Oh yeah, haters come and go."
Yeah, yeah. And the best thing you can do, and I agree with Tyler OG there, man, is not give that energy. Instead, dump that energy into your content ultimately. Because if you dump that energy into your content, it's going to be a lot better. And all you're doing is, smacking them haters, dude. You're backhanding them in the face, man. Like, bam, here's another fucking banger. you know? It just happens, man. It helps influence, man. It motivates, and that's what it does for me. So I'd say use it as a form of motivation. And you're going to have your negative comments, and you're going to have your positive comments, but just remember, as long as your positive outweigh your negative, then it's all good. And then sometimes if your negative outweigh your positive, maybe you need to take either an inner look on you or an outer look on your audience and see what the disconnect and problem is. What?
So Tylo G said that the £1,000 in one tent would be a life sentence in trim jail. Life sentence.
Wow.
And then Wild Bill Bro says, helps when you start to learn how to grow better too. My old video, I'll probably need background music, and I'm sure that's reference to the amnesia haze, and I just stuck music. Just didn't say anything.
I'll tell you, what was it? Wild Bill grows when you do that, man. Don't use the music. Try to use it from an outer source because YouTube, what they'll do, sorry again, but they'll give you music and you use it and then they hit you with a copyright strike because they gave you the music and said it was okay. Don't know from what song you're going to click on or what music you
You're
use.
talking about the shorts.
Yeah, the shorts.
Now the shorts, I feel like, is
Yeah.
like you're going to a cafeteria where there's all this awesome food, but some of it's poisoned, and they're not going to tell you which one's poisoned. Enjoy.
Yeah, that's a metaphor.
Graze slowly.
Yeah, so I mean, my best advice on that is create your own music and put it with your videos. But if you're not able to do that, then definitely source it somewhere besides YouTube. Yeah, because they'll give you copyright strikes one after another on it. Anything in the comments?
We got Tylo G said, "Oh yeah, with the growers showcase, make my positive depth outweighs my negative now."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I gotta say, man. And speaking of like he said earlier, a life in trim jail, man. Even with one of those bud trimmers, that would be hell. 1,000 plants by hand. God, you'd have to hire people, at least 23 people.
I mean, the space that would take.
Yeah, yeah. You're talking about a warehouse that's the size of Walmart.
The amount of
I mean,
water and
super
nutrients.
Walmart.
Imagine if that was all autoflowers. They
God.
would just burn through
Dude, nutrients,
nutrients.
gallon. You're talking about them. Well, now you're talking about our agricultural containers, them big jugs that go on.
That's a lot of
God,
nutrients.
yeah. Yeah, that's a life. Yeah, yeah, because the gallon jugs at Fox Farm are like 140 bucks. So, I mean, for a fucking 55-gallon drum of Fox Farm, oh my God. You'd probably pay, I mean, for three of them, which was what you'd need, probably pay a brand new car payment. I don't know. I'll never require that much. I don't want to be a farmer. No offense to people at farm. I'm glad because I wish I had the property, but I'll never be able to own that much more damn property. You know what I'm saying? So
Not unless we can make some kind of cult classic movie that
yeah,
takes
right.
off, like Cheech and Chong.
That would be sweet, dude.
That'd
That
be
would be
cool.
honestly sweet, man. So you want to tell them about? We've mentioned the Patreon. We've mentioned, which is not behind the paywall. We're not trying to sell you anything. I'm just saying go support it, if you will, and Rumble for sure. If you can go support that and follow the Rumble now, keep in mind Harry Cole had just created this, and I am uploading. He is uploading on both the Patreon and Rumble, so there will be more content on there. So I think there's only how many videos on the Patreon and Rumble right now currently?
The Patreon, I've just been taking pictures of plants.
Yeah,
Of
because
it
we
with
can't upload
but
videos to
really
Patreon
good
yet.
shots. I've been getting real good close-ups, nice showcases, explaining things as each days go by over there. So that's what I'm doing on Patreon right now.
Yeah.
On Rumble, it's just basically the daily shorts that I would do on YouTube, but I'm doing straight talking shorts over there because
Yeah.
I don't think I can do music easily. So I'm just running talking shorts over there, explaining what's going on, talking about the plants from day to day and different things. So, and then, the regular shorts on YouTube. Well, eventually we will start getting content over there onto the Rumble, but it'll be a slow drip.
Yeah. Yeah. And I got a bunch of stuff saved, and he does too. So we're going to just transfer that on there. That way, there's tons of content on both the Rumble and Patreon. And they will have content that obviously YouTube will not allow. So,
Yeah, we might
we
have to.
might, transfer some things like Strand reviews. We'll still upload it to YouTube, even though it'll get age restricted. But, we'll have it there on Rumble too, more unedited and raw. We'll have smoking including since you can't really do that here on YouTube. Um, there's just going to be a lot more different type of content. Like I said, we're going to do that from here on out to make it a little more exciting. Because I know a lot of people really want that 2010 content back. So, we're going to give it to you in full force for sure. We're starting off with this damn live stream, I gotta say, and really kicking the door in on that. So,
It, it, it probably got age restricted.
yeah, but I mean, we've had, guys, almost 8 concurrent viewers, and we've had 37 people check out the live stream. So, I mean, it's growing too, which is cool, man. And the comment section and interactions growing. So, I mean, it works, man. Any way you guys can push buttons on your end and support us will greatly show Google and the algorithm that you enjoy this type of content. But what a
Tylo G said, I've gotten copyright on every video I've ever upposted. Haha, YouTube is always upset.
just see that's in what they do. They can't age restrict him now on plant content. So now they're like, oh, your music you use as a prop. And that's the shit I'm talking about, man. That is the shit I'm talking about. It's just crazy, man. I mean, this next grow, like, I mean, I'm sure it's going to get age restricted every video, but I'm going to do a AC Infinity 5x5 trellis net, and I'm going to do Jelly Donut Autos. So I'm really looking forward to that. I only have like 3 Jelly Donut Autos, and they're from Hydro Gardens and Lights. Shout out to you guys. Thank you guys for supporting our channel and helping us out through it as well. That is a great help. And they're a great store, guys. Usually you walk into a bunch of stores and they're half-ass and so, but Hydro Gardens and Lights, very educated people, will guide you in the right direction, absolutely know what they're talking about. So I wouldn't recommend it if the store sucked. I would just, go on with whatever they give us to do videos. But honestly, I'm being genuine. They're an amazing company and they help you out. They're very knowledgeable, nice people. They carry all Humboldt, Fox Farm, this, that, the other. Um, Gaia Green, they carry it all. They carry hydroponic stuff, soil less, super soil, organic soil, potting soil, any type of damn soil you want. And if you're into the fungus, man, you know what I'm talking about. They sell those type of spores and kits as well. If you're into psilocybin. So, you know, I'm just saying, putting that out there so you guys know too. So if you want, instead of going to like midwestgrowkit.com, hop over to Hydro Gardens and Lights and they have spores of all sorts and, stuff of that. I'm not, a mushroom type of dude. I don't eat mushrooms, but if that's your thing, man,
Speaking of things that are interesting,
I
aren't
have,
we gonna
you
get
know.
some special kinds of is it San Pedro cactus is what you're getting?
No, it's,
Oh, it's not San Pedro, but it's
yeah,
close to that.
yeah. Okay, so there's a company called, I mean,
Can we talk about that?
yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Um,
It's a succulent.
Uh, fuck it.
This
Okay.
is probably already age restricted.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that. I'm just hoping it'll get down with the mention, but I don't think it will. I done mentioned psilocybin. I don't care anymore. It's cool. It's America. Welcome to it. Freedom of speech, right, guys? So anyway, there's this little. I'm sure you guys have seen it. They're called sacred buttons, and they
Well, he
sell.
has a channel, so I think it's
Yeah,
gonna be fine.
yeah, and he's on YouTube, but they give out peyote cactus seeds. Now, I don't consume peyote. It isn't a hallucinogenic cactus, and you have to grow it 3 to 5 years to properly mature those alkaloids in it. And the longer you grow it, the more concentrated those alkaloids are, but they are a form of mescaline. And so with that being said, if you're into that, however, they do give seed giveaways, and I just happen to, win a seed giveaway. So we're going to be growing that. I have no use for it, but I will consistently grow it,
I think it would just be
on the
cool to
channel.
have and to
Yeah.
see and to watch its
I've never grown I've grown cacti, I've grown succulents, I've grown fruits. I've grown exotic carnivorous plants and cannabis plants for many years, but I have never grown peyote cacti. So if it's a plant, why not? I
something
don't care. I
cool
want to see if I can grow it. I'll
and,
learn
and it
about it.
flowers.
Yep, and we'll teach you guys all about it. If you guys are interested, we'll let you know all about it.
Tylo G says they get me with age restrictions too. He also says
Same.
love growing mushrooms, microdosing, so grow them once or twice a year.
Yeah, yeah, and they have great kits for those at
They're
Hydro
fast.
Gardens and yeah, yeah, they sell it's the mycelium and rice cake kind of jars,
I feel like they are kind of like the auto
Yeah.
flowers because they only take 2 months.
Yeah, and then you have, so I mean you have psilocybin. So I mean honestly it's pretty cool. And I've used mushrooms a lot. It's just, I just don't anymore. I
Yeah,
just like weed.
it's
I like
weird
smoking
as
a lot of weed and concentrates. I'll eat edibles all day.
I
I'll
feel like
smoke and eat edibles all
back
day.
in the day, man,
Like,
I partied hard.
oh
I
yeah.
partied so
Yes,
hard
sir.
that I don't need to party anymore. So
Yeah.
I retired.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta say, yeah. I feel that, but I get it too, because a lot of people do use it for medicinal purposes, just like marijuana. Some people don't use it to get high. Some people, use what is it, psilocybin mushrooms as a form of antidepressant, or a way to
Oh,
clear
definitely.
negative energy and negativity, or anger or angst in life, or whatever. So it helps you overcome a lot of things if you're into that. A lot of people do microdose mushrooms. I don't, just because, like Harry Cola said, I partied a lot back in the day, and I've done, partied my ass off. I'm gonna be real. So I smoke a lot of weed, need a lot of edibles on the daily, and I always will, and I have for about 23 years straight now. So I'm not going to quit that, but the rest is just too much for me anymore. I'm not going to lie. I definitely couldn't eat a quarter of mushrooms right now, or eat as much acid as I
Well,
once
it,
ate.
well,
I'm
when you're
I'm good.
older too, that stuff it
I'm
just hits
whew,
you 2 times harder that
God,
next day,
yeah,
and it's
yeah,
just there's just too much stuff to do in a day that I
yeah.
can't step out of my body for 8 hours.
Same, and that's another reason. That's the main reason. We just have too much going on in IRL, man. Sometimes it'd be great to take a vacation away from it, sometimes, but unfortunately, we just don't have that time at this time. We're trying to get the channel up. We're trying to, push other apps and, revenues ultimately for the channel, so it's one of those things. It's kind of go, 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 all gas, no brakes. So, I mean, that's kind of what we're doing. I mean, other than that, it would be nice to, take a break from life for a minute, I'd say sometimes.
Let's see, Tylo G says I use jars filled with popcorn kernels and spores, and then um,
Yeah.
Francisco Lopez says got a tent full of that. And then Tylo G says, you guys ever heard of speed run seeds? You ever heard of speed run seeds?
No, I've never heard of speed run seeds. Please tell us more, though. I mean, I'm curious. There's a lot of things you guys like use and companies you guys know. I always like hearing about them, especially if I don't know anything. So let me know down in the comment section below, please. What is speed run seeds? I mean, if it's something I'm not aware of, I'd definitely like to know in the cannabis world. I love keeping up on everything, even news in different states that I don't live in. Like, I'm just, I'm heavy into cannabis, man. The ganja's my friend, for sure.
Okay, so John Boy says, I think the weed in the early 90s was the best. That brown resin dripping out of the end of the joints.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we had this comment.
Conversation
Yeah, and
yesterday.
yeah, and I'll tell you, man, I gotta say now in the 90s there was that chronic and hydro going around. So I agree with that. But there are some old heads that are like back in the 60s and 70s, and I wish I could have been a part of that time, but unfortunately, I was born years and years after that all happened. But at the same time, there are old heads that swear the weed back then in the hippie days is better than the gas now, and there's science that proves that's not the case. So, but back in the 90s, like John Boy said, yep, like John Boy said, that's when the chronic and the hydro was coming out. So that is the case. There was some gas
Okay,
going into the
so
millennium, like the 2000s, late 1990s, there was. And that's
Tylo
facts.
Tylo G says that's a lot. There's a lot of auto breeders right now. And I can kind of agree with that. And the reason why you're getting a lower potency from that bud is because of the ruderalis that's speeding up that crop. But we have done things with certain breeds to reinforce that THC potency.
Yes.
But not all cultivars are reinforced as much as others. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know a shit ton about this, man. And let me just kind of break it down for anybody watching who don't know. Just explain it, man. Um, Ruderalis is a low potency THC C strand. Okay, they'll mix it with sativa, they'll mix it with indica, and bam, you got that autoflower genetic. You cannot have autoflowers without that shitty Ruderalis. Now, it is beneficial in some ways, and it sucks in other ways because of the low potency. You're talking about 0.0.3% THC, which is not enough for people that's probably never even smoked weed to feel it.
Right.
I mean, to be realistic, you're talking about a third of a percent. So 1%, you break that down to a third, and anyway, you break something fell, guys. I'm sorry, I got my attention, but you break down to a third percent, and that's what you get. So basically, they have bred stronger strands. So don't get it twisted. Auto flowers are not garbage. They were garbage when Lowrider was out, and that was the first auto strand. I know a lot about my autos because I grow a lot of them and photo periods as well. But anyway, with that being said, they mix like a high potency strand with another high potency strand. So they'd take like wedding cake and cross it with apple fritter and maybe call it apple wedding or apple cake, for instance. Probably they would call it apple cake. But so it's mixed with the cake strand. But they'd call it apple cake, for instance. And boom, you got a gas ass potency out of an auto. So a lot of people do get the misconceptions that autos are shitty or autos are low potency. No, they are not. There's genetic science. Even if you don't believe me, that's fine. Go look it up. Like, I'm definitely sure because I've done tons of videos on our channel about autos and ones about the Ruderalis and all of that. And it's out there. The information is on our channel. And if you don't want to source it from me, like I said, there's plenty of other sources and they do cross pollinize phenotypes, F1s or F5s, and they'll cross them and those are going to be your more expensive seeds, the F5 phenocross. And all that means is purified genetics from each end being crossed for maximum coloration, taste, potency, terpenes, and cannabinoids. So they got the strand down to a T, every color, every aspect of it, up to F5, and then they cross pollinized it. And that's when you get, autoflower seeds pretty much.
John Boy said
Gas
testing
ones.
the Crop King seeds, Black Gorilla. That weed back then would make you stop 2 blocks before you got to the stop sign because you knew it was up there somewhere. It would make your vision freeze frame or some crazy stuff.
I believe it, man. I've heard of Black Gorilla. It is a Gorilla Glue strand crossed with, I think, Black Diamond or Black uh what was that strand? Damn it. I knew because it's like a dark purple or black strand, right? Like a blackish purple kind of color, So yeah. I know exactly. Yeah, that's some gas, dude. And you'll have strands like that. There's ones called like Death Star. It's like 34% THC.
But that
Straight smells like Old Spice
Banana
cologne.
Auto.
Banana Auto. That's another one that makes you feel
Wasn't
retarded.
that one 43%?
It was 34%.
34, okay.
Yeah.
I guess I'm switching numbers
Yeah,
around
is
34.
Big Banana Automatic by
14.
Royal Queen Seeds, and it is some gas. I grew it, and it's on the channel. There's another one. Strawberries was low.
Britberry.
Brittenberry,
Britberry.
Britberry. That's what it is. Okay. I was thinking it was a berry strand, to really bring out those hues, but usually a lot of strands can be black or purple. It's just their genetics. That's awesome. That sounds gas.
Um,
Oh,
Tylo G said, I just grew a FB Anvil Auto, and it was so purple, it was almost black.
See, those are the beautiful genetics. And I'm going to tell you, as a content creator, a secret key to that is definitely bringing out the coloration strands. A lot of people see green plants. Not too many people see all purple, black plants.
White.
Well, you can get albino genetics. Yes, you can, but you've got to be skilled.
Really low light.
You better be skilled, yes. And you need a light that has an adjustable dimmer switch that's kind of customizable, to be honest, to grow something like that. And you need lower, cooler conditions like 60 degrees. It's kind of opposite of cannabis. I'll make a video on it, guys. There's a lot to get into about albinism and cannabis and stuff of that nature. So, I'll just because it's just too much information. It would take up the rest of the live stream and bore a lot of people, I'm sure, but we'll make the video exciting and put it out there for them.
Wild Bill Grow says, Black Dominia in the vault now. Then John Boy said 32%. Smells like rear-ended grease, underarm pepper, and pine and lemon.
Yeah.
That's a fucking
That's
shit.
John Boyd said that.
Yeah.
John Boyd, damn, that sounds like some stanky gas. Some stanky gas. I'm growing some grape ape right now. Right now, it smells like candies, like candied grapes. Kind of like if you smelled a grape Jolly Rancher candy. If you had a handful of them, that's exactly kind of what it smells like. And it's 28 to 30% roughly. I'm guessing because of the extra amendments I did during the grow, it's definitely 30%. It went that extra 2%, especially with the flushing and all that. They're going to turn out real nice,
That
and I'm going
smells
to show you
great.
guys. Yeah,
It smells like a fine grape wine back there with
yeah,
the yeast and the buds and the
yeah,
terpenes.
and you have that candy grape smell with like a wine smell, and it's because you have the yeast eating the sugar, creating CO2
There's
in the
a pinch
tins.
of something else in there, like some Northern Lights, you know?
Yeah, the Northern Lights is smelling hella piney, guys. Like that smells really. If you're into them piney strands, Northern Lights, I'm sure everybody smoked that shit by now. That's at least watching the channel or smoked weed for a while. I mean, you've had to come across Northern Lights. That's like an OG strand, like AK-47, the cannabis strand. YouTube, not the gun. And and the purple haze and blue dream and strands like that, man.
Yeah,
You
that
know.
Purple Haze is a good one. But that's very sativa, isn't it?
No, actually that one isn't. It's 60-40, I believe. 60% indica, 40% sativa.
So Wild Bill Groves asks, how long do you flush just RO water? And I have an explanation. You don't want to use just straight pure water. You want to bring down the parts per million to about a zero point 0.8 for flushing. You never want to go zero. Zero will pull too much too fast. And it's really hard to keep that water balanced too, so your pH is going to swing wildly if you try to do that. Zero point 0.8 in the parts per million, about 80 parts per million is what you want in that water. And that's really good to flush with. Um, and then how long? You could do it for a week. I prefer 2 weeks, but
A week to 2 weeks, and usually 1 to 2. Like, you can do it multitude times a day. So you can either do it 2 times a day, and you want to do the same, obviously, same amount. If you have a 5-gallon grow pot, for instance, you want to put 5 gallons of RO water through that. But make sure you don't just use plain RO water because it is stripped of all of its properties and your plant will greatly, it's going to take too much too fast out. So make sure you have 80 parts per million. That way it doesn't act as a stripper necessarily for your soil. So just like Harry Cola said, so that works perfectly.
Yeah, I was
And
thinking of the wrong measurements. I kept saying point 0.8. I'm like, wait, that's not right. It's 80. It's 80 parts.
and another video we wanted to make, but I'm gathering it, and I want to tell you guys that are in the live chat and have seen the live chats venturing back and forth. I'm seeing the number fluctuate here, but if you guys, what was I going to say? Hold on, I had a complete brain fart because of the cannabis. Short-term memory. Oh yeah, okay. If you guys want to ask any type of questions, receive any type of answers from us, just let us know in our shorts. And what I'm doing is I'm gathering all these questions, and we're going to make a video. We'll tell you your guys' username, ask this, and then we'll just answer whatever questions you guys may have. And it can be about cannabis, hell, it can be about anything. As long as, we can say it on YouTube. Keep that in mind, guys. But, yeah. So if you guys want to ask anything, we're going to gather all the questions. We're going to try to get up to 20 questions. So if you guys, want to ask 1 to 2 questions or whatever the case may be, but we're going to gather all them questions and they can be on our shorts, our videos, our recent videos at least. We get notifications when you guys leave comments, so we'll just gather them all up and we'll make a video answer all your questions, or we can do it while we're here on your live stream or our live stream as well. Your live stream.
Um, Wild Bill Grows says, I don't know, the NL in the vault right now. I'm not sure what
Northern Lights
Lights.
and all
Okay,
right
like
now.
like
And while Bill grows, that Black Dominia is top tier. That's top tier cannabis right there. That's an exotic gas. It really is, man.
now John Boy says for flushing he uses rainwater. But what do you think about that? Rainwater?
I
Recipe?
I mean, it must be pH to a degree. So that's my only thing. Any type of water, guys, you guys use must be the same pH, whether it's RO water, rainwater, or tap water. The best thing to do and the cheapest solution is to just get liquid pH up and liquid pH down. And get that off Amazon or Hydro Gardens and Lights or maybe your local gardening store. You can either get the crystals, which I don't recommend because it builds up salts in your medium, but just get the liquid pH up and down. And if you've been feeding your plant during flowering at 6.3, then 6.3 that flush water and run it through. If you're doing 6.5, 6.5 at pH and run it through. And even if you're doing rainwater, rainwater does collect a lot of pollutants from the environment as it falls down. However, pH up and pH down will neutralize a great bit of this, and it'll act as normal water because water is water, spring water, RO water, tap water, but there's just minerals that are in some, minerals that are not, filters in some, filters that are not. So it's all what's filtered out and what's allowed in your water. So as long as you pH your water to the same pH that you've been giving your feedings, you are good. And you can do this a multitude times a day. The point is to flush the medium out of nutrients. So what you want to do is run that water through your grow medium until it comes out absolutely clear. Some of you will have like a piss yellow color. Some of you guys, sorry for lack of terminology, will have a shit brown color of nutrient water come out. And, ultimately you want to run water and flush that plant until your water comes out as clear as it does your faucet or your RO system or your rainwater, whatever you're using. Essentially, just keep running water through that so there's no more remaining nutrients in that soil and your plant absorbs the rest so it can finish up and
Now
mature.
now this is if you're doing it over a week's period of time, right?
Yes, you can do like if you're doing 5 gallon, you can do it. It just speeds up the process.
Right. For me,
Essentially, do it per day.
I do a 2 week process, and then when I would normally do my feedings, I'll double. So I do instead of doing 5 gallons, now I'm going to put 10 gallons of water. Well, for me, I do less water, so I'll put like a whole bucket for each one, right? But I'll do that on the feeding days, like I would normally feed. But now I'm just going to run double the amount of water and just
Yeah.
really flush them out
Yeah.
each feeding
Yeah.
day.
And there is no precise amount. Just make sure you're using the amount. So if you're using a 10-gallon pot, make sure you flush with 10 gallons of water twice. So that's going to cost you about 20 gallons of water to run through that. Right now, I use 5. So I run 20 gallons through 4 plants. Each plant is 5 gallons. But if I'm flushing them, then I'm going to run double that amount. So I'm going to run 40 gallons through it. So that's 10 gallons in each 5-gallon pot, if that makes sense, of water. And what you're doing is you're stripping away these nutrients quicker from your grow medium and essentially allowing your plant to take what's up left at a quicker rate. And once you do this, your plant will finish and mature quicker, especially if it's, you're already at your last 2 weeks of flowering, and you're flushing. So,
Um, so what do we got here?
what's in the comment section?
Wild Bill Grows says, I came uh, from Green Magic Gardening with Master Kush from Canada.
Master Kush is really good in green gardening. I'm not too familiar with, I gotta say, but I mean, Grandmaster Kush is a good cultivar. Absolutely.
Wild Bill Grows also says, I have 3 res runs 3 times a day.
It's for 3 reservoir. Damn.
It's a lot.
Yeah, especially if you're using up a whole reservoir worth of water. And he has 3 of them a day. So essentially, he's refilling and emptying out his reservoir. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, he's flushing. Yeah, he's flushing. Yeah, keep it up, man. It makes the product taste a lot more smoother and really brings out them trichomes. And you get a 15 to 20% yield when you flush. For those of you that don't, man, you really should. There is no scientific evidence that backs up whether it makes bud harsher or more smoother, but there is scientific evidence that it does cause the plant to take up what nutrients is left in the soil, ultimately fattening up your buds and carbohydrates if you're carb loading during flowering, which is good idea. Use that unsulfured molasses. It's used in most medical cannabis grows.
John Boy says those chemtrails in the rainwater are like steroids for the plant. He's kidding.
Uh, yeah, yeah. If only that was the case, man. If only that was the case. I wish. But rainwater, man, like, essentially, if you can collect your water for your plants and you're making cost efficient by not running your tap, hell yeah, do it. I mean, anything that's more self-sufficient, I would say, during growing cannabis is going to help you a lot in the long run, even if you're doing it indoors or outdoors. Anymore.
He says,
Oh.
Wild Bill Gross says, no, but run off unless I do it by hand after. And then he said, no, it watered 3 times a day. It's a lot. But every environment's different, so I can't really judge what maybe he has a hotter, drier environment where he needs more water ran to that plant. He's running a lot of CO2, a lot of light.
Yeah, because I mean, 3 reservoirs full of water is quite a bit. I mean,
Yeah,
because I know even the smallest reservoirs are about this tall. That's going to be your basic, and what it sounds like is he's growing outside.
that's what it sounds like to me
Yeah,
too.
or Wild Bill grows. Do you grow outside, man? Is that kind of because that's what I've guessed? Because reservoir, and it just sounds like it. I mean, I could be wrong. People do have reservoirs
Maybe
inside
he
their
has a
tent.
garage set up.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. I've seen stuff, man. If a plant can fit, it'll grow, dude. Let's just put it that way. I've seen people grow in closets, bathtubs, storage rooms, fucking other properties, outside on their property, in their flower garden, like in a windowsill.
Yeah,
I've
like
seen somebody grow an
all these
autoflower in a
vegetables that we
windowsill,
plant in
dude.
the middle.
No grow light, no tent, just
Cornfield.
straight autoflower in a windowsill. Cornfields, yeah.
Cornfields that
Yeah,
run
that's
up on a weak
but
plant.
you don't want to do that because that corn and beans and shit deplete the nutrients out of that
Oh,
soil.
it does.
So you're going to get some ass yield if you're growing in a corn and bean field that ain't your own, man. Don't do that. Don't grow weed in a bean field or a cornfield, guys. That's depleted of nutrients. Because they put the beans there, it sucks up the nutrients, the corn replenishes it. Use an area you constantly use outside because cannabis will strip all the toxins out and leave really good soil. Plus, if you grind up your stalk and cut up your branches and your leaves and let that decay, basically, it really creates a really healthy grow medium and you're giving back to that soil which you've depleted from. So then you can grow there next year and grow there next year in the same spot. You're not having to move your grow outdoors to get them nutrients because there's only so much nutrients and root systems can only travel ultimately so fast to receive them, you know?
Let's see. Wild Bill Grow says no. Wait, no, I already heard that one. On timer, one res, indoor,
Oh,
three flower tents.
damn. Okay, that makes more sense. Three flower tents. Okay. Okay. Now, yeah, because I said some people will have a reservoir inside, and some people do, man. Some people have, and I wanted one personally too. Just pH, a huge thing of water, mix the feedings,
Well,
and
if you
but that's if you're keeping everything on the same feeding too.
you got to monitor that water though in that
Yeah.
reservoir because pH swings. I
Yeah,
put water.
wildly, guys,
I
wildly.
I test it. I'll put water in a container of different kinds, whether it's tap, RO, mixed. I'll let that water sit overnight. I'll come back at the same time the next day and pH it and see like how long, 24 hours. And then I'll give it 12 hours. I'll give it 6 hours and I'll watch how the pH swings up or down. And typically it swings up. So if you're messing around with tap water. Brown Boy says, I've got 400 gallons of water if a plant needs something to drink.
Damn, John Boy, holy shit.
Monsanto's chemicals in those crop fields also.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Who said that?
John Boy.
John Boy, you had a damn good point. I forgot about the pesticides. Yeah, that's the main reason you guys don't want to grow because that shit sprays on your flowers and you smoke that, you're probably gonna die. Like dead ass. Like, yeah,
Wild Bill Gross says,
that's
I'm
a
at
good
work
point.
when I'm watering. Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, yeah. Some days, guys, you'll notice that like your grow will be chill, and then all of a sudden you got to defoliate, do this, do that, water,
I got
feed.
so much work to do.
Yeah, yeah. Harry's got. Tell him all what you got going on and what you got growing, and I'm going to go piss.
All right.
I'll be right back.
I
You
got,
can just leave that there and
yeah,
just sit back. Oh, sounds good.
I got a ton going on over in my old grow area. Let's see, I got the two wedding cakes coming along, but I'm trying to navigate through high heats and high humidities, which has been pretty difficult. Um, the mimosa cake auto, which has been doing pretty good. You can see it on the shorts, either on YouTube or Rumble, and there's photos on the Patreon too. But that thing's been coming along a lot better than what I thought. When it first got messed up in that tent, I thought, man, this thing's just going to be done. There's no saving it. And by putting it into the bathroom, it really saved that plant, turned it around. It is only growing in a 2-gallon fabric pot, so I don't expect a whole lot from it. But it's looking pretty good. I'm going to have to go in there and defoliate the whole bottom area of it. Then the Gorilla Cookies Auto. That one is doing really good. I had to transplant it from that solo cup. Um, I think I'm gonna abandon trying to grow in smaller containers just because it just seems redundant. It just doesn't seem like a good idea. You're strangling that plant, essentially, not giving it everything that it needs to perform as well as it should. So you should just use the right size pot for the right size plant, ultimately. Um, And then I decided to get into growing some of these fruity pebbles. I had to germinate a bunch of them because they are male and female seeds. So there is a chance I could end up with some males out of it, which would be cool because before I kill them, I can. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. Before I get rid of them, YouTube. Um, I'll be able to get that footage and show like where the identifying marks are for the male and the female plant because as you know the male plant kind of has like three things of the nub, like a little pollen sac there. You can't, it just looks like a nub when they're small, and the female has just those two hairs there. But having that footage I think would be cool to be able to use in later works or just to educate people who may not know about there is a difference in this dioecious species. Minecraft. Yeah. That's the meta now, right? That's it.
I'm coming, Harry.
I messed up and said a word I shouldn't. I'm not good at censoring myself, man. It's difficult. It's difficult.
It is very difficult. What is going on, guys? I am back.
See what were people saying?
I got to get a drink because my throat is killing me. It's hard to talk for a couple hours. I'm not gonna lie sometimes, guys. Hold on.
John Boy says I actually just set up the collection tank a week ago. It's been raining so much that it's totally full. Wild Bill Groves said I'm thinking 3 gallons or five is sweet spot. And then I accidentally said a word I shouldn't for Minecraft. I
No.
was talking about what I should do with male plants, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You too, man.
But you
But
know, I think it would be cool to get some males just so I can kind of show this is how you look at these nodes. You look for this. It looks like three little things. Like it almost has like
yeah,
what looks like would be the female parts, but there's a little nub in the middle. It almost looks like a tiny green sac.
that's a hermaphrodite.
Well, males have that too. When they're,
Yeah,
that's how you sex them. You look at the nodes and you look for the three. You'll see
yeah,
three things, and females only have two.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true.
Females have the V,
Yeah,
males have the stub.
yeah. Those fucking yeah,
You
yeah.
can tell.
The pistols, man.
There's really only those two when they're seedlings, you know, unless they go hermaphroditic.
That is very true. That is very true, man. I mean, if they go hermaphroditic, then I mean, you don't want that shit.
You gotta get that out of there.
Yeah, you got
You
to
gotta
get
get
that
that
out of
place in
your
Minecraft.
grow, and yeah, because that's ridiculous, man. Can't have that stuff going on in your grow tent, guys. You don't want no hermaphroditic plants. Yeah. Whoa.
Wild Bill Gross says, I let 3 clones go for the first time, but still have 4 going. Oh, you had 3 fail on you, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Clones are tricky.
They're touchy, man.
They are touch and go. You really have to baby them, but you also it's weird with clones because you have to baby them, but you also have to give them a little bit of nature to make them strong enough to survive. And they
Nature versus nurture.
and doing that is that chance where it could be susceptible to disease, or if you're babying them too much and you're giving them too much water, then you might end up with a root rot issue where it's not, you know, putting, so they're really touchy. You don't want them too wet, you don't want them too dry. You just got to keep them in that nice area where they're moist and drying and moist and drying.
Yeah, and John Boy, man, where we live at, it's been pouring rain. My dehumidifier has been, it holds up to like 2.5, almost 3 gallons. It fills up about two, 3 times a day in here. And my humidifier in my tent is not going off. I've watched it, so it's like, yeah, the weather, and a lot of people just, if you guys haven't thought about it, because sometimes it does slip your mind, because there's so much about growing. But your outdoor environment affects your indoor. So if it's hot as hell outside, you need an air conditioner. If it's humid as hell, you need a dehumidifier indoors. And you're like, well, my house is sealed. No, it don't matter. It really don't, man. That moisture will get in, that heat will get in. It will. Houses aren't airtight sealed unless you built them that way. So, and I mean, if you do, hell yeah. But, most 99.9% of houses are not going to block out that humidity, that heat. So you do need to run devices.
See, while Bill Gross says, "I've just stopped watering." And then he said, my mentor is tired of hearing about this dragon fruit Z.
Dragon fruit Z, yeah.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's an exotic strand that they bred together.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Sounds
but
like some Dragon Ball Z.
yeah, yeah, dragon fruit. See, it's an exotic type of cannabis, man. I can't remember if it's a hybrid indica or sativa. I seen something on it. Like I watched like a 20-minute video on it, but it's a new popular. And what happens is, guys, you'll notice there's strands like gelato was like they put gelato in everything, dude. And it's a fire ass strand. I like gelato. I'm
There's
not
a
complaining.
it's
But
surprising
yeah,
how like when you're looking into the genetics of different plants,
the
how much
diversity.
there's a lot, but there's a lot interwoven, you know? There's a
Yeah, yeah,
lot
yeah.
that's just kind of interwoven in there into all these strands.
Yeah, yeah, I gotta say, it's crazy. And some of these strands, guys, are crossed with like 6, 7 different strands. It's crazy, guys. Crazy.
Wild Bill Gross says it's from copycat genetics.
Copycat genetics. Copycat genetics.
Hmm. Have you ever
Um,
heard of them?
Copycat Genetics. No, no. I see. That's another one. And somebody else mentioned speed seeds or speed run seeds.
Yeah, speedrun seeds.
Yeah, yeah, I got to check those out too. There's some companies, guys. I mean, I've heard of a lot of companies. There are some I haven't heard of, and I'm definitely willing to check out, try on the channel and stuff for you guys. But do understand, like Wild Bill Gross said and John Boy, they refer to it as the vault. I have a vault myself, and it's got a lot of exotic genetics, a lot of OG genetics, a lot of new type of autoflower genetics that haven't been seen on YouTube. And I'm going to be showing all you guys that. Plus, I'm going to be getting things and using things that you guys are like, hey, try this, or I want to know about that. So I got you guys on that information too. But running as much water in a reservoir does get quite, tiring, I gotta say. But, reservoirs hold a lot, I gotta say. What's up in the comments?
John Boy said, I put clones in direct sunlight 3 days after cutting. Never lost one yet. I've got over 34 of them right now. Two are already outdoors in the ground.
Damn, damn, he's got it down to a T. Sounds like it was John Boy or Wild Bill Gross.
John Boy.
John Boy sounds like John Boy's got cloning down to, see, I mean, we got a video on that, but we only touched, because there's so much in depth to it. So,
Yeah, there's
and,
a
and
bunch of
many
different ways.
techniques. That's the
Yeah.
thing. That's the thing. There's so many techniques to cover that we still have yet to do that video, but sounds like John Boy's got it down for sure. He's got 34 clones and already two rooted and outside. Yes, sir.
Two already outdoor in the
That's
ground.
awesome. And I mean, it's great to have that. It's great to be outside in your own yard and see cannabis plants out there, and you don't have to worry about it. Like you don't have to worry about helicopters and police and SWAT teams and DEA and stuff anymore. Just for growing a plant. So I mean, that's really nice. I gotta say, it would feel rewarding going out into your own yard and there's just this tall cannabis plant with these big old pop can flowers because it's getting old Mother Nature. I would like to grow some autos outside and grow some indoors, but
I think growing
fortunately, I don't have the
outdoors
property to do that.
I think growing outdoors would be a challenge just because once you're
Yeah,
outdoors, you
yeah,
can't be out there all the time, right? You
yeah,
can't be in your grow tent all the time, but it's like more sealed. There's more layers to get to that tent opposed to outside.
yeah,
That plant receives stress for any reason.
yeah.
Everything's around it to be drawn right to it.
That is
So you
true.
you have to be good at growing to be able to grow outdoors
It,
and know how to shade that plant, how to like protect it from harsh winds and slugs and
that
bugs.
that's what I was. Oh, I was just about to say, man. There's so many challenges you face growing outside that I think I would like it as a grower, but at the same time, I love my indoor growing, and I highly prefer growing indoors. But I'm not opposed to growing weed outdoors either. There's just a lot more problems that are kind of out of your control, and seeds. Some genetics and seeds are very pricey, and it's not like you'd want to put some of those out there. So if I had just like, I have a bunch of Northern Lights, I can just put a few out there. That would be cool, But go ahead, man.
John Boy says, I started in the early 2000s. Speaking of which, I need to add another 3 gallons. Oh, that's Wild Bill Gross says, speaking of which, I need to add another 3 gallons, uh, three every other day. And then John Boy says, believe it or not, if that clone wants to live, it will grow roots.
Yeah, yeah, I believe it. I believe it. Yeah, because there is survey it does come down with one thing with cannabis ain't taken into consideration. That's survival. If that plant wants to live or has a availability to live, it will.
I think
If not,
we got like 5 more minutes and we'll be at the 2 hour mark.
2 hour mark. Hell yeah, we've made it at 2 hours. 2 hour. I missed a 2 hour stream. That is wild to me, man. And we
Yeah, it
have
went by quick.
Yeah, we would have like 45, 50 views on it. That ain't bad, dude. That is not bad. That's a doing better, I gotta say, man.
Yeah.
I noticed that with our live streams, we have more interaction. We have a lot more people freaking commenting, and you have a lot more viewers too. So it's been pretty cool. I could say it's been growing, man. And hopefully we get the Rumble and Patreon like that as well, man. Just keep it growing, and you guys go over there, check it out, follow it. 'Cause it costs nothing to follow over there, man.
Mm.
So yeah, and brow and not the browser, but the damn Rumble costs nothing to upload
I mean, they
either.
have ads just like YouTube has ads,
Yeah,
but I
yeah,
mean,
but it's more
we
interesting
can't
stuff.
escape the ads,
No,
unfortunately.
no, because they got to make money, guys. They got to make money some way, and YouTube's ad revenue is one way they make money. I gotta say.
Rumbles.
Yeah, Rumble, not YouTube. Well, that's how YouTube makes money too. They
Yeah.
they slap your,
Well, that's
you
how
know,
Google has made
yeah.
money all along is selling
And
ads.
man, I always made jokes with Harry, like, man, can you imagine if they gave us Manscaped and shit?
I mean, we could make some goofy commercials,
Ah,
but
hell yeah. We've talked about all sorts of. I wish we would get sponsored by Manscaped. 'Cause we'd come up with some funny ass shit. YouTube wouldn't like it, but you guys would. It'd be
well, that's
funny
why
as
we
hell.
put it over on Rumble.
Yeah. I'd still slap it on YouTube just to spite Google. You know? Damn it. What do you think about it?
It is a complex problem with doesn't seem to have as simple as an answer as I wish it once did.
A simple solution.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because if you have a village involved into a problem, it can get resolved pretty easily, right? But then when you're talking about the whole United States with a problem, now it's a bit more complex because you have these different ideals from place to place, right? But now we're talking about the entire world is kind of the issue with the platform and allowing our kind of content to flow freely. So
Yeah.
then the problem's like, man, that is much more complex and way over my pay grade to solve. That
Mm,
I could fix YouTube with some simple ratings. Just slap some ratings on there and then boom. Parental controls, boom. Now it's not your problem, it's the parents. If they don't fix it, then there you go.
I agree. I agree. Wild Bill Grows and John Boy, man. Shout out to you guys. Sounds like you both been doing this for a while. You both definitely know what you're talking about. And it's good to see people like out on the channel just as well as people that are beginning. Because, it lets you know that your information does reach out to people that's even been doing it for a while or they just enjoy your content. And that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
It really is. When I have growers, I mean, any type of grower, but especially growers that's been doing it for a while and stuff, and they're like interacting in our channel and watching our videos, it's really cool because I feel like I hope somewhere, honestly, we give them some bit of information maybe they didn't have, and that just completes what they're doing or really helps with production or whatever the case may be, or if they just enjoy the content. Right now our live streams have been pretty chill because I mean they usually are, except for this one. I kind of have crashed out on YouTube and Google, man, but sorry for the people out there watching about that, but not sorry to Google and YouTube because do better. But they're just going to be kind of chill, and this is what we're going to do. Some live streams will, they'll have IRL content in real life, and they will have a bunch of things that we're talking about, and we cover things, all sorts of things on here. We don't just cover cannabis. We'll talk about all sorts of things, no matter what it is, other hobbies, whatever the case may be, whatever's going on in the world, whatever's going on in cannabis news, you guys should maybe know about whatever's going on in the world. Like I already said that, my bad. So, we'll just be covering a range of topics, man. We don't want to just stick with one base, but we'll primarily be talking about cannabis 90% of the time. It's just that 10%. We're going to throw some, a wrench, metaphorically speaking, within the gears to spice things up a little. Me and Harry talked about that because, even though we are a cannabis channel on our live streams, we're more free and open to a lot of different things as far as content. So, if we're talking about this or if we're talking about, I don't know, dreadlocks for 2 hours or, the science or whatever the hell, it just don't matter, man. We talk about all sorts of things on here. So you'll always see, even if you're not interested in cannabis, there's going to be a lot of other topics on here too.
John Boy says you have to watch them. If they start to wilt, I would move them to the shade for a few hour break outdoors to put straw in the bottom of the hole, add some soil, put a fish, and add a little bit more soil, then your plant.
Okay, I see what you're doing. He's doing
Organic.
outside organic. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. See, I wondered because I never had the property to grow cannabis outdoors. I know a lot about it because that's how I first studied it for a couple years. However, I don't have the experience because I've never grown cannabis outdoors because I've always grown it indoors. Whether it's a closet I set up with a bunch of, equipment or a tent, primarily, I grew out of tents first was closets and stuff, and then, freaking tents. So, it does take a lot of know-how though, and you do learn things over the years, and it becomes a great hobby, I gotta say, and it becomes a passion. You actually develop a relationship with that plant. You're there every day. It's a living, breathing organism. You are too. And you're feeding it, you're responding to its needs. And then after it's done, it, really responds to your needs, and your cannabinoid receptors. So I gotta say, they're beautiful plants, man, and I'm glad they're here. It's one of my favorite strands of plants, or not strands, but not cultivars either. It'd just be species, I would say, is the proper terminology there. And I just enjoy everything about it. I gotta say, and I'm glad you guys too, and we could share a space where we do it together. But what's up, Harry?
Um,
Let's see.
John Boy said, however, if you want fertilizer, the straw hay acts as a moisture reservoir, plus as it breaks down, it turns into nutrients. He also said 10 foot tall.
Yeah, see, that's the thing about growing outdoors. You have
Yeah,
them monsters. Like I can grow some monsters in 10, but not to the limit I could
the
outside.
outside plants
And
just
I've
get,
always grown massive
well,
autoflowers and,
the vapor
you know,
pressure deficit outside, because the plant has more root space, that vapor pressure deficit can go a lot higher. And because you have a higher vapor pressure deficit, you end up with, you
Harry,
know,
you're on to something, man. Okay, check these numbers out. So they have certain VPD numbers, man. This may be something that's groundbreaking here on this channel right now. Okay, so what happens if during the seasons that cannabis provides that you would match, of course, the temperature, but the VPD outside? So what is the basic plant growth rate VPD that's outside in your environment? If you could match that and provide the CO2, boom, boom. Or have they narrowed VPD down to such a specific, specification that it just requires these particular
well,
numbers and nothing higher or nothing lower?
it's a fluctuation. And what we're talking about is how much nutrients can that root ball actually pull, right? So when you have an outdoor plant, obviously those roots have no limits. They can get massive. You have an indoor plant, you have a ceiling.
Yeah, you're
You have
you're
a
into your
basement.
grow. Yeah, you're
So
tied to your grow pot. How many gallons it is ultimately?
so if you're pulling really hard on that pot, it's actually going to stress your plant out because it can't get anywhere else to have more space to grow. Opposed to outside, it can now take a higher VPD because it has more space to stretch out and be like, I can get over here and get moisture. I can get over here and get
In this
moisture.
nutrient, that
And
yeah,
then as it's spreading out,
yeah.
now it's getting all these different nutrients, and that stuff that's in the soil isn't available immediately. But the microbes will, in the time, and microbes and moisture and dry, it breaks down and becomes nutrients.
But if you have these mycorrhizas, you feed it these nutrients, and you have a 10 to 15, 20 gallon pot roughly, and you match them VPD levels and that amount of CO2 that's maybe in your outdoor environment and match it to your tent, I wonder.
It wouldn't be good. It would be bad. They don't recommend going too high in the VPD in your tents.
Well, no, no. I mean, I'm saying like, what's the base? You wouldn't match like
Oh,
the same, like it's hot outside. You wouldn't match that temperature and that humidity spikes. No, you would just match that plateau of plain VPD that's in a mid-range of both humidity and temperature.
well, I see what you're saying. You're talking about taking it from a two to a four.
Yeah,
But the problem with that is like it's like a sponge, right? Think of it like a sponge. And again, going back to the medium,
yeah,
maybe if you had a 10 or 15 gallon pot in there,
yeah,
you
like
just filled your
20,
whole freaking
25,
tent with
50.
pot,
Yeah, like
maybe
fucking,
then you could get away with it. But
yeah,
you're gonna need a taller tent
yeah,
because it's gonna
yeah.
bust right through your light.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I was like, well, if that did work, then you'd have this monster bushing out your tent, dude. And
Yeah,
yeah, it'd be smacked into your
you
life.
open the tent and it's just like.
Now, Harry, man, are you going to do the massive cannabis plant?
I would love to, but the problem with that is, realistically,
You
is
need the pot.
I can't control light leaks. if it's growing in the middle of my living space, I can't control light anymore. And if it's a photo period, it's going to be a mother plant.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, damn it.
And I thought about it, but I was like, man,
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to flower it out because there's no way I can control light leaks. I can't only have my light on in the house for 12 hours, and it's like, all right, it has to be dark now.
Yeah, you're wandering around. Yeah, fuck that.
Let me make something to eat. I forgot to cook earlier.
Yeah. You drop the frozen chicken or hamburger on your foot, like, fuck, out of the freezer's smashing into your table and shit.
John Boy says, never enough light.
Yeah, ain't that the case, man? It's like, that's the same with outdoors and indoors. You can never have enough light. I use an SD44 AC Infinity 430 watt LED full spectrum light. Damn.
It's a lot.
Yeah, but that's what it is in its entirety. But it's just a full spectrum 430 watt light. So essentially it's over, for a 5x5 space, it's quite a bit too. I mean, it is essentially a lot of light. And
Yeah,
if I
even with CO2, with that hot big light at that many watts, you really need it to be higher.
yeah, yeah. And what it is I got a light that's a little more than what my space requires, but I keep it dim. I can never turn my light up, guys, because if I do, I would fry my shit. It would be more fried than KFC's chicken, more toasted than Subway subs, and more cooked than Harry Cola when he has to edit.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, guys.
yeah, that light's powerful, and
Yeah, it is. It's a beast. It's a beast, guys. It is a beast of a light. I gotta say, AC Infinity equipment. I love you
well,
guys, man.
they
You've
added
grown us some gas. Well, we've grown the gas, but you guys provided the equipment. I
they're
mean, not directly. We bought it,
when
but
when I when I look at the
they created it.
lights, the different lights, like AC Infinity has this like convex little magnifying glass on the back of each little bulb, and that spreads the light out and intensifies it. Where on the regular LED lights, I don't see that. And I'm like, now this one has 240 watts, but I think the AC Infinity, with its little techniques that they used, makes it just as powerful as the 240-watt light at 100 watts. So now it's saving you energy. It's more
Yeah.
cost effective.
That's another thing. Their products are hella energy efficient. They're hella awesome. They work great. They don't fail. You're not going to have equipment failures. You might have technical malfunction with AC Infinity because there's a lot that goes into their panel equipment because it's all automated. And basically, you set up an automated environment for those plants. So, I mean, there is a lot of technical stuff that goes into it. You will have to learn and of course about the equipment, but their manuals, they have great online service, they have great service when you call them as well on their products. They're just a great overall company, man. I mean, there's very few times in life I've purchased something I'm like, hell yeah, every time I look at it. But that's one of them. I'm like, hell yeah, this thing's sweet. So if you can, man, definitely get AC Infinity Gear. I love them, man. Spider Farmer's tits too. And then you got Gorilla tents.
Yeah,
The gorilla
the
tents
Gorilla
are
Grow.
built like a gorilla, dude. Yeah.
John Boy says, I hang mylar from the light and funnel it down to the pot, basically wrapping the light all around the plant. I
Yeah.
leave an opening for the fan to blow through. It helps cool the grow.
Yeah. Yeah. That Mylar is a it's the best reflective material to use in a do-it-yourself grow in any space. And reflecting that light like he did, who was a Wild Bill Gross?
No, this was John Boy. Wild
John
Bill Gross had to take off a little bit ago. He says, "Have a good day, everyone. Time to stuff my face."
You too, Wild
But
Bill
he
Gross.
was already gone.
I feel
Sorry. I said later, man, before he left.
oh
Hopefully.
shit. Okay, cool. But just making sure,
Well, we
man.
were talking, and I was just
Yeah.
like, I don't want to interrupt the flow of conversation because you're trying to get a message out, you know?
Yeah, yeah, I get on those, man. I'll be like, my tirades, but or my messages or what I'm trying to convey. Be like, look, guys. But what What was I saying? It's a damn weed, man. I'm hitting right now. I'm smoking on
Oh, he was talking about Mylar and
yeah.
wrapping the entire plant around
Okay,
with
so
it.
that's John Boy, right?
John Boy.
Okay, so John Boy is creating a 360 degrees coverage of the light. He's also cooling it down and providing, oxygen and CO2 through an intake. So that's a great method as well. And Mylar is a great reflective material if you want to do any type of do-it-yourself grow rooms or do-it-yourself grow setups. Mylar is going to be your best reflective, and they got certain grades of Mylar too. Look into that. There are some grades, and they do cost more, but they are more reflective than others. Your basic Mylar will work as well, and I've seen it work wonders. I mean, the same results out of a tent. I have a buddy that has a Mylar right here on the left side, the back, and the right, and he grows plants and they look like they're out of a magazine every time he's done. Like it's just like, damn, bro. Then I Google shop the image and I'm like, holy shit, he grew that. It's beautiful, man. And I've grown some strands like that myself. It's just he did it with a Mylar setup and it works best for him.
Let's see. John Boy says, I'm in a 4x4 tent between tokes. Pay attention when they uh popcorn. It's funny. We can't say all that.
Oh,
Um,
trying to edit it.
oh, no, we're, different topic. Let's see. Just need a different topic. It's not in our range of topics here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I feel it. Okay. Sorry, man. Can't really. Just respond to that. I was like, oh, Harry had a brain fry.
Yep.
Yeah, Harry fried out. What's going on next now?
Said emergency blankets are cheap and everywhere.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They have a Mylar on the back of them too. Yeah, and then you just flip it around and it acts as a Mylar panel. And then you just hang those in like here, here. I mean, you'd have to drape one here and drape one here. Then you connect them by just clips, and boom, you got a 360 degree. And if you have a 500-watt light, 400-watt light, it don't matter what 100-watt light you got. You put that bitch up in it as long as it's LED or HPS or metal halide, and then there you go, or T8s. But that's kind of old school. That's really old school. I mean, you only see them in seedling kits anymore. T8s, those tubular lights that are fluorescent bulbs that if you barely
And
touch them, they'll
again, with AC Infinity's equipment,
scatter with powder and shit everywhere.
they gave me these really nice bar lights, and these bar lights at low, I know under 3, you can keep it like you can put it right up against the plant and it'll be fine.
Yeah.
But if you turn it up higher than 3, you want to keep it about 6 inches away. But I mean, you can get that thing really close and add really great
Yeah.
penetration and just
Yeah,
really
with them
light it up.
T8s, man, they stay really cool, and that's why they use them on seedlings because it's that cool daylight.
John Boy says just use masking tape.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. Masking tape's pretty weak. It falls off. I'd say duct tape or gorilla tape.
I've used,
Yeah,
yeah.
black tape.
There's, good tape for grow tents in case you have light leaks and stuff. Gorilla tape or T-Rex tape. That shit is even,
Gorilla tape.
it's
Yeah.
so, it takes muscle to get it off the damn roll, dude. Like, it's stuck to that fucking roll. You gotta yank that shit off. And I'm like, damn, bro. Like, it's crazy. It's strong tape, man. It's strong adhesive, but masking tape like the or duct tape too. That'll look kind of all goofy and whatnot. You want like black tape that kind of matches because most tents are black. So if you have a light leak, you want to kind of cover that hole with black tape that matches your material on your tent, I guess. Or if you don't give a fuck, just like duck it. Can't fucking duck it or whatever the fuck they say about duct tape. I don't know, man. A lot of people roll shit in duct tape. I've seen lawnmowers put together with duct tape going down the road. Because the dude, listen, this is off topic, but it's funny. This old redneck farmer guy in there, he got a bunch of DUIs, right? So he had this old rusty ass, busted ass John Deere tractor that was green and yellow, and the front fender was taped on by fucking silver tape and shit. What's it called? Duct tape. And then he had like the
Well,
seats.
silver tape's for ducking.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you can't duck it, fuck it, I guess. But this dude had this, the whole seat covered in duct tape. So it was a duct tape seat. and other parts of it, like the light duct tape, there was an X that held the headlight in. And he'd drive this shit to the store because they took his license. But then he got pulled over on it because he was drunk on his busted ass lawnmower that was all taped up, and he went to jail.
You got intoxicated while driving down the street on a lawnmower.
Yeah, that dude was drunk as fuck. It was funny as hell, man.
Foil tape is reflective.
Yeah, foil tape. Yeah, I've seen that too. People do their walls and stuff, foil tape, any type of reflective surface. One thing you don't want to use that seems like you maybe you would is mirrors. They magnify light, so they can burn up your plants. Don't use mirror as a reflective surface.
Stony Grows says, "Cheers, Gromies."
Stony Groves, what's up, man? Cheers to you. I'm going to hit some watermelon OG. Welcome to the live, dude. We've been doing it for what, 2 hours now?
Yeah, we're a little over 2 hours now. Just a little bit by like 10 minutes, 5 minutes. Uh, 200 mile per hour tape for NASCAR. Nice. That's what John Boy said.
Hell yeah.
Is that shiny? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
I've seen NASCAR. I've never actually watched it.
No, no.
I've seen some of the crashes. I was like,
Yeah. No. Yeah. I remember, yeah. I remember them saying a joke about Dale Earnhardt, man.
Stony Grove
They didn't
says,
want to
"Happy
watch that.
Father's Day or late Father's Day." Thank you, man.
Yeah. Shout out to you, man. Happy Father's Day to all
Fathers
the
out there.
fathers out there, man. It is, I think, yesterday. Wasn't it yesterday?
Yeah, I
It was
think it was
Father's Day. I
yesterday.
can't remember,
Yeah.
but yeah. Yeah, man. But I do got to say, Cannon family, we do have about 3 videos to shoot. We got some shorts, so we do got to bring this live to an end, unfortunately. Cannon fam, any more comments?
I used to use mirrors. I broke 4 at one time. I'm still suffering, John Boy says.
Yeah,
Oh
John
no.
Boy, I've used a few mirrors myself, man, and then they're like, well, that magnifies it, but I don't know. I feel like if you do it the right way, but it depends your light and your whole situation and setup too, man. Because you can really magnify that light one specific area because the way it reflects and shit off mirrors, you can barbecue your plant. And then you go in there and your buds, instead of smelling all terpy and fruity, it'll smell like, barbecued chicken.
The plant be all brown and twisted up.
Now barbecue chicken sounds good though. I was thinking about that. The back of my mind, man. But yeah, guys, unfortunately, we do got to cut it short just because it's been 2 hours and we do got 3 videos to shoot for you guys. We appreciate everybody in the comments, everybody that showed up, man. Much love. We will be pumping out as much content. Check us out at Patreon. Check us out at Rumble.
Angles.
Check us out on Twitter, formerly known or X, formerly known as Twitter. Damn, and Instagram as well. Much love, Canna family. And I'm your host, Dustin from Two Buds in a Jar. And this is Harry Cola, man. And
And
we're
we're burning
burning
out.
out. See you guys next time, man.